And the Fox robot says the Green Bay Packers still have a shot at the playoffs. And you know what? He's right. They're 5-8, but every week is a must-win situation. And we are in Green Bay for what is perfect weather for December as the Detroit Lions take on the Green Bay Packers. And welcome to the booth, everyone. Ron Pitts along with Jesse Palmer. And when you talk about the Green Bay Packers, you talk about their record, 5-8. They still have a shot for a wild card. But really, you got to talk about one guy, and that's Brett Favre. And I think with everything that's gone on this year with the young team, the young offensive line in particular, I think this may be one of his best years.
Right, and Brett Favre really has had one of his best seasons both on and off the football field. On the field, he's taken better care of the football. He had thrown 10 more interceptions at this point last season. Fewer turnovers have led to more wins for the Green Bay Packers. And off the field, it's been his leadership. He has guided a young group on offense through its growing pains this season. But I think a guy that's really made a difference has been the reemergence of Ahman Green this year. He missed most of last year with the leg injury. He's back this year running healthy. He's approaching 1,000 yards. He needs 133 yards to get there. He could get that here today versus a struggling Detroit rush defense.
Boy, you talk about the Detroit Lions are 2-11, and Jesse, you just take that big collective deep breath and you think, okay, give me some kind of silver lining if you're a Detroit Lion fan.
Well, there's not a lot of cheer about a 2-11 if you're a Detroit Lions fan. The guy that has taken the brunt of criticism from fans and media is also the guy getting the most acclaim from his head coach and offensive coordinator, and that's Jon Kitna. And although his statistics may not demonstrate it, they feel he has played well enough to win games this year. It's been his leadership off the field that has kept this football team from tanking and quitting in the fourth quarter of the season, something this organization has been accused of doing in years past.
Right now, we go to Lambeau Field's public address announcer, Bill Jarks, to help us honor a person whose vision gave birth to the modern NFL, Lamar Hunt.
Ladies and gentlemen, the NFL family has lost one of its greatest leaders and a founding father of modern professional sports. His vision helped transform pro football from a regional sport into a national passion. Please join now in a moment of silence in memory of Kansas City Chiefs founder and Pro Football Hall of Famer, Lamar Hunt.
Kickoff, Lions, Packers, coming up next.
Black & Decker.
Welcome back to Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Ron Pitts, Jesse Palmer, Laura Oakman. We are set for kickoff. The Lions have won the toss. And boy, you don't ask for better than this in Green Bay, Wisconsin in December, 40 degrees. The sun is actually out, a little bit of wind, but it is perfect football weather, so to speak. And Jesse, do what you do. Tell me about the key matchup today.
Well, the key matchup today is going to be Al Harris of the Green Bay Packers versus Roy Williams, the Detroit Lions. Because the Green Bay Packers defensively like to play a lot of man-to-man coverage, you're going to see these guys tying it up a lot today. Head coach Mike McCarthy feels that Al Harris is a good enough corner to shut guys down. He's going to have that opportunity today versus one of the NFL's best.
This is the NFL longest uninterrupted series. These two teams have met every year since 1932. Eddie Drummond is deep, ready to receive the Rayner kick. At the 1. He's got a lane. Trips up at about the 26-yard line. Ben Taylor on the tackle. Let's go down to the third member of our crew today, Laura Oakman.
Thanks, Ron. Roy Williams says the best cornerback in the game is Al Harris. He says he votes him to the Pro Bowl every year. Unfortunately for Al, that hasn't meant a trip to Hawaii. He says it bothers him enough that he's going to have to do something about it. He says he's going to make some changes. His game is sticking and jamming. He says it's effective, but it's just not as sexy as interceptions. Look for him to make some changes, some adjustments to his game to get some Pro Bowl love.
All right, Laura, thank you very much. That sticking and jamming is known as bump and run coverage, and these two corners do it very well. Handoff inside, that's Arlen Harris. He's subbing for the injured Kevin Jones. And Jon Kitna, 13 consecutive games with over 200 yards passing. He's on pace to set a team record for pass yards, but the bad news, he's set a team record already for 11 straight games with an interception. We'll set the rest of the offense after this play. 2nd down and 4.
Already a good first down play, trying to establish the run, make this a second very, very manageable. Something we haven't seen very much the last few weeks for the Lions.
Back to the run, Harris again, and he's hit in the backfield. Up front for the Detroit Lions, some changes at the left guard spot. Ross Verba is out with an injury. Rick DeMulling will slide up in his place. Frank Davis will get his first NFL start at the other guard position. And Roy Williams, of course, talking big, trying to make a Pro Bowl push. Mike Furrey leads the team in receiving. And as we mentioned, Kevin Jones, broken foot last week. He is gone for the year. Arlen Harris will be there in his spot. And you'll also see Avion Kason. 3rd down and 5. Empty backfield. Quarterback sneak, and it's not going to be close. The Packers were not fooled. Corey Williams along with their leading sack man, Aaron Campman.
Well, you have to wonder if John Kitna saw something with the defensive line up here on the defensive line. It looks like there may be a hole somewhere in this gap for John Kitna to get through on the QB sneak, but as he takes the snap, his center, Dominic Raiola, kind of gets stymied, and John Kitna runs into him, and he's not able to get the forward progress. It isn't very often you see quarterback sneaks on 3rd and 5.
What did Mike Martz say? Anything 3rd and long is manageable.
3rd and long, very manageable to Mike Martz.
Charles Woodson will take this one inside the 20. He had a 40-yarder last week, but goes backwards on this one. Nice job of coverage, Alex Lewis. The man, the future Hall of Famer, Brett Favre. His 235th consecutive start, 14 at home and 0 at home against the Detroit Lions. And he can set the NFL completion record today with 14 strikes. We'll start it off 1st and 10.
It's just the fact that he's going into his 235th consecutive start. That number in itself is just unbelievable.
We'll go with Green and Henderson in the backfield. Bubba Frank sets up. They'll come with the power game and a big hit right off the bat. Ernie Sims, the rookie out of Florida State. The rest of the offense, 3 rookies starting on the offensive line. They'll each make their 5th consecutive start. Brett Favre says they're not there yet, but they are getting better fast. Donald Driver having a Pro Bowl type of year. Greg Jennings, the rookie out of Western Michigan, has shown up this year with some very big plays. And of course, Ahman Green needing only 133 yards for his 6th 1,000-yard rushing season. No gain on the play, 2nd and 10. They'll go with the power look. They'll hand it off on the draw. Green again. And another stop by the Lions defense, Corey Redding. And you talk about one guy you got to block on this defensive line, you would start with that man, Corey Redding. 7 sacks. He leads all NFL defensive tackles. The linebackers, Ernie Sims, making a strong push for that NFL Rookie of the Year. He's the leading tackler on the other side. Stanley Wilson will start for the injured Fernando Bryant. 3rd down and 10. Favre pumps, pressure, gets away from one, looking deep, and it's nearly intercepted by Kenoy Kennedy.
The one thing that Coach Marinelli said about Brett Favre, and one thing he emphasized to his defense was plays are never over when Brett Favre is in the football game. He has the ability to stretch things out and keep plays alive. You're going to see here on the ISO, they just have simple hitch routes, run to the field, and when things break down, he gets it turned up by Carlisle Holiday. Brett Favre keeping the play alive. A good job by the Detroit secondary to run over, force the incompletion, and now force a punt.
John Ryan will punt it away for the Packers. Drummond is deep. This one will die. Drummond has to make an acrobatic catch. Makes the catch, fights away from one, and gets back up to about the 46-yard line. 0-0 here in the first quarter. His way, and we are back here in Lambeau. 0-0 early in the first. A look at the Green Bay Packers defense. The defensive line, Cullen Jenkins will start for Kabir Bajabiamila. They're getting better production, they feel, out of Jenkins. A.J. Hawk having an outstanding year. He leads the team in tackles. Woodson and Harris, they both say they should be in the Pro Bowl this year. An end around Roy Williams, and Williams doesn't get much. No yards on the play. And of course, before the game, Williams had some things to say.
It's going to be a show today. 11 verse 31. All day long.
You know, every time Roy does that, it never works out in his favor.
Roy Williams does like to do a lot of talking. Al Harris on the other side, not doing very much at all. He's going to let his play speak.
The check down throw to Harris. Harris should have the first down or be very, very close as he's driven out of bounds by Charles Woodson. A pickup of 9.
You're going to see here the physical play versus Roy Williams in the slot. That's Al Harris, and he matches up well. He's 6'1". He likes to get his hands on guys inside the 5-yard boundary. He does that, but right here, Jon Kitna doing a good job getting through his progression. He's able to get the ball to Arlen Harris on the check down crossing route to move the chains, make it a 3rd and short.
Third down and 1. Harris will have a Lions first down. Let's check in for this game break for the first time today out in Los Angeles. Here's Chris Rose.
All right, Ron, the Vikings just the game out of the NFC playoff picture. They force a Chad Pennington fumble. It results in this. Brad Johnson to Travis Taylor, 30 yards, and the Vikings up 7-zip on the Jets. Back to Ron, Jesse, and Laura.
And there's your quick look at the NFC playoff picture, the wild card slots, as well as the players still alive. And, of course, the Green Bay Packers fit into that mix. 1st and 10 on the run by Arlen Harris. Kitna in trouble, gets away from 2 Packers still alive, makes the throw wide open is Roy Williams, and Williams will have another Lions first down. Finally brought down by Brady Papinga.
Well, you're going to see Jon Kitna's mobility here and his ability to create on the run. Roy Williams is running a drag route across his face, and he avoids the rush, gets out to his left, and finds a wide open Roy Williams. You see Williams here running across. He outruns A.J. Hawk and then just turns it up the sidelines into the open area where Jon Kitna is able to find him to get another first down.
He got away from Ryan Pickett and Cullen Jenkins. They were in hot pursuit as you look at Williams' numbers on the year. 1st and 10. They'll go back to the run game. No, they won't play action. More pressure. No escape this time. Sack. Jenkins is there along with Colin Cole.
Well, the Green Bay Packers defense here not biting on the play action fake. You're going to see as Jon Kitna turns around on a counter action play fake, they get great pressure up the front. They're able to really collapse this pocket. A lot of speed coming from the outside before able to take Jon Kitna down for the sack. You know, Aaron Campman's had a great year so far. He comes into this football game with 10.5 sacks, tied for 5th in the NFL. He's been a big presence. He had a lot of sacks early. He hasn't had the same production in the past few weeks, but he's a guy certainly the Packers want to get going on defense. 2nd
and 17, a nice spin move by Mike Furrey, and Furrey's going to be about 3 yards shy of a first down. Really showing some versatility there in the pocket.
Sure, and you see the number right here, sacked 50 times this season, most of any NFL quarterback. You know, and because the Detroit Lions have to throw the football so much, they don't have the running game they want to have right now because they don't have the guys. They have injuries on the offensive line. Rex Turner, Damian Woody, a Pro Bowl type player. And they have running back Kevin Jones, you know, he won't play the rest of the season, so they're handcuffed right now play calling. They're forced to throw the ball more.
3rd and 3, a safe throw and a nice hit before the first down by Woodson, and Woodson is shaken up. Arlen Harris made the reception but was hit immediately by Woodson, and Woodson coming in with a bad shoulder as it is. Hurt that shoulder last week against San Francisco.
Right, you know, he missed Wednesday and Thursday's practice this week. Coach McCarthy allows him to practice Friday. He says he gets a lot of tape time in to try to make up for what he doesn't get in practice. You see here, trying to go low on the running back Arlen Harris. It looks like he may have re-aggravated that shoulder injury.
We'll check on Woodson when we come back. The Lions threatening to score here in the first quarter. This will be 42 yards for Jason Hanson. It's straight. and it's long enough. So the Lions put together some nice runs and some nice passes, come down and score first here in the first quarter. Back in Green Bay, 3-0 Detroit. Packers have the ball. They have not had much success running the football in that first series. They'll try to get it going here as you look at Favre's numbers, week 3 versus Detroit. Quick throw inside, and there's a first down. The first hookup to Donald Driver, and Driver has now caught a pass in 78 consecutive games. And this is game 2, game 1, Detroit, Green Bay. Back in Detroit, Brett Favre shredded the Lions in that big win, 31-24. And this 75-yarder, Favre to Greg Jennings, really started off. And for Brett Favre, that was his 400th career touchdown pass, ranking him second all-time to Dan Marino.
Right, Brett Favre really had a monster day that game. Threw well over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, had a QB rating of about 120. You look at this 15th consecutive season. I mean, the guy has been the model of consistency in this organization, and the way he's been able to maintain his level of play throughout the years and stay productive, I think for a quarterback certainly has been what's, in my mind, most impressive. I mean, to have the longevity to play 235 straight games for your organization, and the numbers he's put up, you think about that, he's thrown more than 400 touchdown passes. Think about how many quarterbacks never even attempt 400, never have 400 attempts.
Right.
In the 6 years, I think I maybe broke 100 yards, 100 attempts. You guys quadrupled my production in touchdown passes alone.
Driver was just short of the first down. A fumbled snap. Lions say they have the ball. Looks like Favre never got it, and the Lions do have it. Anthony Bryant recovered the fumble as he gets his first NFL start.
Looks like there's just a miscue here on the snap between the center, Scott Wells, and Brett Favre. It looked like Brett Favre wasn't even ready for it. That ball may have been snapped early. Brett Favre was probably anticipating this coming up a little bit later. Ball gets on the ground. Looked like they were going to try to run the football to the left. Detroit pounces on it. That's a huge turnover for the Detroit Lions in Green Bay Packer territory.
The Lions come into the game minus 12 in that giveaway takeaway ratio. Already today they're +1. They have given it up, and they need to get it from some people. That's Arlen Harris for a few. Let's go to Los Angeles to this game break and Chris Rose.
All right, Ron, a Bears win coupled with a Saints loss, and the NFC road to the Super Bowl goes through the Windy City. Could we see back-to-back good games for Rex Grossman? Here on spot to Desmond Clark in a 7-zip lead over the Bucs. Back to Ron, Jesse, and Laura.
Boy, and that would be a very cold road to Miami. Chicago Bears trying to put the perfect cap on an outstanding season. 2nd down and 9, a pickup of 1 by Harris. Pressure, throw, knocked away, intercepted. Al Harris, and he could go the distance, 1 man to beat. And Al Harris is still going. Nope, they mark him out of bounds.
Right here, you're going to see the physical play of Al Harris and how he's able to match up with Roy Williams on the other side of the field. I think this is just an example of wanting the football more. And Al Harris does a great job. John Kitna is just trying to throw a hitcher out to Roy Williams. Al Harris able to kind of knock it up in the air and juggle to himself. And as you see him tight roping down the sidelines, watch his feet. It's like he's certainly out right there. I was wondering why he was trying to cut so far across the field on a touchdown. But you see right here, one-on-one. Here's Al Harris, and Roy Williams just going to run a 5-yard stop route. The ball, John Kitna trying to throw the football to Roy Williams' outside shoulder to protect it. Al Harris able to make the big play, get the turnover back.
Ahman Green with a breakout run. Maybe a touchdown-saving tackle by Paris Lennon. Let's go down to Laura Oakman.
All right, you guys, we're going to see if some coaching works right now. All the running backs going over to the bench. Coach Edgar Bennett pointing to his head, letting these guys know, think with your heads, get out there, no more silly mistakes, get out there and get this done. Defense helped him out. We'll see if the offense can capitalize.
All right, Laura. Pickup of 7. 2nd down and 3. The boot, Favre throws inside, and he one-hops that one. Intended for Bubba Franks.
You know, I think one thing certainly the Green Bay Packers want to do is they want to run the football. They've had more success offensively in the last 2 weeks. They've averaged about 144 yards on the ground. They've done a good job getting that established. Conversely, on the defensive side for Detroit, they've struggled now in the last 7 weeks. They've been averaging about 160 yards a game, giving it up. So certainly in the game plan this week for Green Bay, you know it calls for a lot of carries from Ahman Green and Morency.
This will be 3rd down and 3.
Caught inside by Greg Jennings, and it looks to be a Packer first down.
Well, when you can keep these 3rd downs manageable, obviously a lot of the routes are going to be a lot shorter. It's certainly easier to complete these. You're going to see right here, he's just going to post up right over the football and spot up in the zone. He's able to do that and really open a window for Brett Favre. It's an easy target, a wide open receiver. Brett Favre doing a good job delivering the football, getting it out of his hands into the hands of Jennings.
1st and 10, and this is where Favre says that we've got to be better. I've got to start throwing more touchdowns in the red zone.
Looking inside, incomplete, intended again for Jennings.
Well, I think one thing that's interesting when we talked to Brett Favre this week is we talked about, you know, how the season has gone for him. He said it's been very, very frustrating for me because, you know, certainly I know the things that I do well offensively, and some of the philosophies I'd like to implement in this system we're unable to do because of the youth on offense. And he said, you know, especially things in the red zone. There's a lot of patterns I'd like to throw. I know I throw well. We can't get it done because we have young guys up front. We got a rookie receiver, and I'm kind of forced to just kind of do the things we do, and it's been frustrating for him this year.
2nd and 10. Green alone in the backfield.
Dropped. David Martin will never get a better pass, and he knows it.
David Martin is just going to run a seam route and try to find the hole in the zone, and on this play, Brett Favre does exactly the right thing. He takes the steps. David Martin here is just going to run up, settle down in the zone, outside of the linebacker. He's able to do that. It's a wide open hole. This should be a touchdown. It hits him right between the 8 and the 7, and he's not able to come up with a touchdown grab. You see the reaction here of Brett Favre. You know, they don't get a lot of these opportunities. This is something they need to get better at, and they cost him one there.
That's what we were talking about with the red zone touchdowns. 3rd and 10.
Same area of the field, other side. A marker goes down as that one is intended for Martin again.
Favre is saying it's going against the Lions.
Before the pass was thrown, illegal contact, defense number 53. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot and an automatic first down.
New life for Green Bay. That goes against Paris Lennon.
You're going to see Martin right here. He's going to run a double move and get up the football field. The defense bites on it, and he's wide open as he gets into the end zone. The ball thrown hot and hard and high. Unable to come down with it, but they get the flag. They're able to keep the chains moving with a new first down.
And Brett Favre has been known to break a lot of fingers in this part of the field. He'll come with the heater, as they say. No excuse for dropping it, though.
Ahman Green with a cutback. Green is inside the 5-yard line.
I think one of the advantages of having a guy like Ahman Green is his ability to really run north and south and be physical, especially when you get down in the red zone and the windows get smaller to throw. You have to have this in your offense, and William Henderson does a great job lead blocking, allows Ahman Green to put his foot in the ground and turn north. And we talked about this earlier, his really re-emergence this year. He's been healthy, he's been running hard, he's been a big key component to this Packer offense.
Taking Wednesdays off, both knees a little sore, still recovering from that injury last year, and he's shut down in the backfield. Nice tackle there by Corey Redding, the guy who started off the season as a defensive end, but with the suspension to Sean Rogers and later going on the IR list, Redding has come down to be a defensive tackle.
Well, Corey Redding really does a good job. He's been a big component on this defense. He's able to split the double team, get into the backfield, and tackle Ahman Green. His presence at the 3 technique spot for the Detroit Lions this year really has given them a boost. He's had 7 sacks, which is tied right now for the lead in the NFL amongst defensive tackles. He's been very, very big since he made the move to 3 technique in week 6.
A loss of 2 on the play. 3rd and 5. Looking for the shovel. It's not there. Throws inside into traffic. And boy, that's one of those throws that really never had a chance.
Well, Brett Favre is going to roll out to his left on this play, and he's just trying to find Carlisle Holiday cutting across the football field. And really, this is a tough throw. As he takes this snap and rolls out to the left, there's a lot of traffic. Again, the windows go down on defense to get balls in. You see Holiday crossing the field. He puts it up between 4 lines. Very lucky that ball didn't get intercepted.
Well, and you saw Mike McCarthy reiterating to Brett Favre, that's not the kind of throw we want to make. 24-yard field goal for Rayner. Should be a chip shot, and it is. The Packers with a nice drive. Couple drop balls. Leads only 3 points. We're tied at 3 here in the first. The ball control there for both teams, and really the Packers can thank that score, of course, to Al Harris making the great interception on the double tip. And that was the 12th interception in consecutive games for Jon Kitna.
Really, the Green Bay Packers have been very opportunistic the last few weeks. Coming into this game, they had 7 interceptions in their last 3 games. They only had 10 all of last year.
Drummond at the goal line. And Drummond barely makes it out to the 20-yard line. We're coming up next, the second half of our Fox doubleheader. The Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants. That's all coming up next on Fox. And boy, how about Jeff Garcia and the Philadelphia Eagles? No one saw Jeff Garcia coming.
Well, you talk about Jeff Garcia and the job he's been able to do in Philadelphia since taking over the starting job. 7 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's kept them in most of their games. That's, I think, that's someone who's had an impact that I don't think very many people saw coming.
First and 10 at the 20. Harris trying to fight to get out of the backfield, and he's trying to drag Colin Cole at the same time. And you look at the replacement quarterbacks around the league, whether you were replaced by hook or crook, these are the guys that are doing the job now.
Yeah, these guys have really done a good job getting it done. Tony Romo last night, another strong performance, getting a big win on the road in Atlanta. Jeff Garcia, we just talked about the way he's been able to take care of the football in Philadelphia. Tremendous.
No yards on the play, 2nd and 10. They'll go with the run again. And Harris gets out to about the 25. Let's go down to Laura.
All right, guys, Nick Barnett's teammates have been calling him Captain Hook, watching him play with that big old club over his broken hand, but today they can call him the Claw. He found out before the game his new cast is legal. He has a claw underneath that big old rock. He says it makes a huge difference. He can finally grab onto guys. How do I know this? Because when I asked him how it helps, he grabbed me and shoved me about 5 yards. So trust me, I know.
It looks like that Donkey Kong mallet, you know?
Yeah,
hit guys.
absolutely.
Oh, 3rd and 5. Pressure. Another sack for the Packers. Cullen Jenkins. And maybe that's why he's been inserted into the starting lineup.
Yeah, Cullen Jenkins has had more of a presence lately in this defensive lineup, and there's a reason why. He's able to get pressure. He's good against the run game. He's also real good against the pass game. You're going to see him right here really just use muscle and force himself into the backfield. The double team not able to work. He fights through it, gets the sack on Jon Kitna, forcing a punt for Detroit.
He was awarded the game ball last week. He replaced Baja Biamila at defensive end after Frank Gore ripped off a 72-yard run on Baja Biamila's side. They want a little better run defense, put Jenkins in, and so far he's shown that they made the right move. Woodson looking for the wall, and he does nothing but go backwards. Daniel Bullocks hustles down for the tackle. We're tied at 3 here in the first. And don't call it a comeback for Brett Favre. Some people say he never really left. You look at through 13 games last year, and this year, quite a difference, as you've already pointed out, Jesse, in the interception ratio.
Right, he's got 10 fewer interceptions if you look at these numbers from this point last year, and that's really translated into wins for this football team. And the 5 wins this year in Green Bay, Brett Favre has thrown 10 touchdowns, no interceptions. They need, he's the one in charge, taking care of the football, giving his team a chance to win.
7 seasons, over 90% on the quarterback rate. And play is stopped.
False start, offense, number 73, 5-yard penalty, first down.
You know, and I think when you look at statistically Brett Favre this season, it may not be his best numbers yardage-wise, touchdown-wise throughout his career, but I think he gets a lot of credit from Coach Mike McCarthy in terms of his leadership this year and really the job he's had to do coming in this season with a very young group, especially on offense. He's got rookie offensive linemen, 3 starting today. He's got a rookie wide receiver. And really his ability to help these guys through the growing pains of an NFL season. He's done a tremendous job at that.
The penalty makes it 1st and 15. Whoa, nearly intercepted. Dre Bly. He had a plant in the drive on that one.
This is why Dre Bly is really considered one of the best man cover corners in the NFL. He's got very quick feet. This is just going to be a simple curl route. You see Dre Bly right here is going to be able to jump all over it. When Brett Favre tries to get the football out, it's a good matchup. Dre Bly on Donald Driver. You see the feet right there, what I'm talking about. His explosiveness and his quickness gives him the ability to make a lot of plays.
8 career touchdowns, 5 of them by interceptions. He'll make a great play, but sometimes you can get him guessing. 2nd and 15. Driver wide open. They forgot about Donald Driver at the 40-yard line. He's going to be about 3-4 yards short of the first down, a pickup of 12.
Well, although Brett Favre has 3 rookie offensive linemen playing now in their 5th consecutive game together, they've obviously been gelling a lot. They're giving him good time and an ability to get through his progression. You see here, he's able to get through, and everyone just forgets about Donald Driver on the sideline. He just sits it down, gives himself a target. Brett Favre able to hit him, move the ball.
3rd down and 3, gun formation. Lions showing pressure inside. They bring one, they pick it up, the slant, and it's a first down. Carlisle Holiday. He'll move the Packers down the field for 8 yards, and that's the end of the first quarter. We are tied at 3. Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Ron Pitts, Jesse Palmer, Laura Oakman. We start the second quarter, and there's a quick look at the first quarter numbers.
I think really the big surprise right now is the Detroit Lions offense really trying to get the run established. Both teams' rushing defense, though, is up to the challenge.
A bad-looking Santa, wasn't it? Ahman Green makes a nice cut. Green with a very nice run as he moves into Lion territory. Lennon on the tackle.
Well, the Green Bay Packers on the offensive line, they get a lot of movement, and Coach McCarthy said the guys are young, they're not strong, but they are very athletic, and you're going to see the center and the guard pull down the line of scrimmage here with good speed, and again, give Ahman Green the ability to cut upfield and get positive yards.
He mentioned that they need about a good year or 2 in an NFL weight room, and guys come out of college thinking they're buff and they're tough and all that, but the NFL workout and conditioning is completely different. It's built to go 16 games. And there's a check down throw to Brandon Myree, who gets his 3rd start at fullback.
And really, it's interesting. I think for a lot of these young rookie offensive linemen for Green Bay, what Coach McCarthy said, you know, you got to get stronger. You see bigger bodies and bigger presences in this league. Defensive tackles all of a sudden are sometimes 340 pounds. You got to get your weight up, as they say. The best way to do that is in the weight room. Eat a lot, weight room.
And there's Mark Tauscher, the starting right tackle, who's missed now the last 5 games with a bad groin. Hoping to get him back soon. The screen, and it's wide open for Ahman Green. And Ahman Green is close to the 25-yard line.
This is really a well-designed play by the Green Bay Packers. They're going to fake a reverse to try to set up the screen. You're going to see right here the fake reverse backside. Ahman Green able to slip out and get into the screen area. And they really execute this to perfection. You fake to Donald Driver, getting the defense to flow. And right there, nobody around Ahman Green as he's able to accept the screen and head upfield. This is really something Ahman Green does a good job of in both the run game and the screen game as well. He's a big weapon.
Morency checks in at the halfback spot. He'll get the carry. Trying to turn the corner and can't get there. Boss Bailey is there along with Stanley Wilson.
So far, you know, I think the Detroit defense has done a good job against the run. We spoke to Paris Lennon earlier this week and said, what do you expect He said, well, we got to get the run stopped. Amon Green is more of a downhill runner. Vernon Morrissey is more of a slasher. And certainly they have their eyes, they know they're going to be expecting both these players in this game. And so far, they've done a good job tightening up.
Paris Lennon, former Green Bay Packer, left here in free agency just this year. 2nd down and 9. Favre, plenty of time to throw wide open. Driver. That's the 2nd time they forgot about Donald Driver, and he's got a Packer 1st down.
This is a very similar to play to what we saw at the end of the 1st quarter, and really this is Dre Bly watching the eyes of Brett Favre, and as he pump fakes downfield, he forgets about Donald Driver. You're going to see right here's Dre Bly. Donald Driver's just going to run a hitch route. When he does that, Dre Bly just kind of sinks away, and they forget about him as Brett Favre starts pumping downfield. And that's a good job, really, of Brett Favre coming back to his primary target after he's left him already. That shows you the experience he has in this style of offense.
Also good film study. They knew that Dre Bly had a tendency to drift inside whenever you give him a look. And they've hit it twice now. 1st and goal for the Packers. Green running sideways. That's never a good deal. And Bailey showing that outstanding speed he has, chases him down for the tackle.
You know, it's interesting. Mike McCarthy was Brett Favre's quarterback coach in 1999 here in Green Bay, and I asked him, what are the differences between Brett Favre from then and now? And he said, certainly Brett Favre doesn't have the same big play making ability he had back then, but one thing he does do a better job of now is he prepares for games better, and I think you saw an example of that on that last play.
A loss of 4 on a tackle by Bailey. Look at the current drive up there. This is the 10th play of the drive. 2nd down and goal. Play clock running low. They get it off. Pump fake. Check down. In the air. Intercepted. Jamar Fletcher with his 2nd interception in as many games. And that's a huge turnover and another miscue in the red area for the Green Bay Packers.
And this is just a high throw from Brett Favre. He's trying to check it down to Amon Green when he has nothing downfield. He's able to check it down. The ball's too high before the interception by Jamar Fletcher.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by FedEx for all your shipping needs. By Citizen Watches, Citizen Echo Drive, unstoppable. By Singular, raising the bar. And by Wendy's, do Wendy's new double melt and do what tastes right.
The 3rd interception of the year for Jamar Fletcher. Last week he took one back to the house, 88 yards off of the Minnesota Vikings. There's a check down throw to Arlen Harris, and Arlen Harris is rounded up by 4 Packers. Let's go back to the interception.
Well, this is Brett Favre. You know, he's going where he should go with the football. He doesn't have anything downfield, and just as a simple check down throw, he throws it too high. Jamar Fletcher able to get the interception, and this is not what the Green Bay Packers need to do offensively if they're going to get a run into the playoffs. They're in must-win time right now. And I think if you look at the 5 wins this season, +7 in turnovers, and the 8 losses, -9, they already have 2 today offensively early. You wonder if they're ready to come out and mentally play today.
Exactly. Come into a game 5-8. Every week is a must-win situation for the Packers. Timeout called by the Lions. The Lions fans may give John Kitna a C, but Mike Martz says I give John Kitna an A+. The long throw. And that throw doesn't get a grade as it's incomplete. Intended for Casey Fitzsimmons.
And really, Mike Martz has introduced this new style of downfield passing offense that requires everybody to be in sync. And you see at the top of the screen, Roy Williams here is to run an 18-yard comeback. But because there's 2 safeties in the middle of the field, his route changes on the move. Because there's 2 safeties, he now needs to run a corner route. And he's on the same page with John Kitna, who throws it into the area, and they get a big play downfield. This is an example of the offense being in sync. Unfortunately for them, there have been many instances this season where they have not been on the same page, and there have been disaster-type plays.
But that is how he wants that vertical passing game to work. Pressure, Kitna. Kitna goes back to the goal line. Cullen Jenkins already with his 3rd sack of the day.
Again, you see Cullen Jenkins and his ability to get in the backfield, but first it starts with coverage, and Al Harris on Roy Williams downfield. Doing a great job taking the in route away. Sean Kitten has nowhere to go with the football. He's able to squeeze it and try to roll out, but again, Cullen Jenkins making his presence known in the backfield. It's a second sack today. He's having a big impact so far in this first half.
A loss of 15 yards, and now Nick Harris will be punting with his heels on the end line. If he steps back and touches the white, it's a safety. He gets it out. Woodson with plenty of room to run. He had a 40-yard return last week. Fumbles the ball. Picked up by the Lions. They fumble it. Recovered by the Packers, but markers are everywhere. Now that was an exciting play.
Straight turnaround of events right there. Ball control, obviously an issue for both sides. First the fumble by Charles Woodson, picked up by Alex Lewis, and then he fumbles. Packers able to jump back on.
Look how many officials are talking about this.
What just happened?
4 flags thrown. And Woodson there getting a talking to by Lionel Washington, one of the defensive backs coaches.
I wonder if he's trying to tell him, hey, my shoulder's hurt. I wasn't able to tuck the football.
Got to come with
During
something.
the return, illegal block in the back by the receiving team number 29. It's a 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. Green Bay keeps the ball, first down.
That was Tyrone Culver. Nice return, fumble, couple flags. It's NFL football.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Toyota. Moving forward.
You can see the officials still huddled up talking about everything. A big missed opportunity by the Detroit Lions, though. They had the ball. One man tried to run with it. He fumbled it. And Tyrone Culver, who got called for the penalty, ends up recovering the ball for the Packers.
You know, I think for the Detroit Lions, with the type of season they've had, all turnovers on offense, they have to take advantage of these kind of opportunities if they come from the defensive side or in the kicking game. And you see here, Woodson just gets the ball knocked out of his hand. Lewis able to pick it up, and he's unable to secure it himself. Lee with a great tackle, and Green Bay is able to jump back on the football.
That was Don Mulbach, the long snapper, who forced the initial fumble. Now they've got the ball and the hit, and it ends up getting recovered there by Pepra. He comes back and makes the recovery. Not Culver, but still a big missed chance.
Before the ball was fumbled. Therefore, that foul will be enforced from the spot of the fumble. Green Bay does keep the ball. The enforcement spot changes the spot of the ball by 3 yards. It is Green Bay's ball, first down.
And that's why Ed Hockley is so good.
That's why he gets paid.
They got together, talked about it, and realized there was a 3-yard discrepancy.
Coach Marinelli doesn't look like he knows what's exactly going on right there. That's a lot to digest on one football play. And there's still discussion about it.
And there was talk last week after the loss to the Minnesota Vikings 20-30 in the press conference back in Detroit. Rod Marinelli was just peppered with, of course, all kind of questions and angry responses at that loss, and he handled it with the kind of poise and character that he always preaches to his team.
Absolutely. I think a lot of questions were asked how he was doing mentally, and he said he was doing outstanding, and thank you for asking.
Former Vietnam veteran. He has been through the toughest of times. What's a press conference after a loss? 1st and 10. Play action to Green, the bootleg, Donald Driver. He is living in that corner of the field, and that looks like close to another Green Bay Packer first down. Let's go down to Laura Oakman.
You know, you guys, it's been kind of sloppy, and I don't think any of the Packers are too surprised. They laid down some new sod this week, just in the middle of the field. Adjectives guys were telling me in pregame were horrible, awful, terrible, and that's the stuff I can tell you on television. Most guys changed their shoes. Kicker Dave Rayner changing to 1-inch cleats. He tried to sneak on here this week, wasn't able to. They expected this, and it's messy, and they were worried it was going to get worse as the game goes on.
So in other words, Laura, they don't like the new frozen tundra. Is that it? 2nd and 1, and that's a first down. Packer fans will like that from Ahman Green.
You know, interesting how the weather seems to have cooperated really well today. It's the field, though. that has been really the obstacle for the Green Bay Packers so far.
And this is one of those fields that has the heating coils underneath it. They call it frozen tundra, but actually it's 2.5-inch thick Kentucky bluegrass.
And you know all about that from playing around.
Yeah. Dying breed of one of the last few remaining outdoor natural grass stadiums. That full house backfield of play action pressure. Favre took a hit and it's dropped. That time it's Donald Lee.
Well, I think you're going to see a lot of this full house backfield today from Green Bay. Brett Favre here on a bootleg fake, rolling out to his left, is forced to pull up and get rid of the ball before taking a hit. And this is really a catch that Donald Lee needs to come up with. These big first downs, that's very, very catchable in his hands. Unable to get, it's been the third big drop today so far from the tight end position for Green Bay.
2nd down and 10. Looking for the seam. What a catch, Driver. And Driver is inside the Lions' 25-yard line. Lions are disputing the catch.
Well, Brett Favre originally had a run play called, and he audibles to a pass. He's just going to get Driver up the seam because there's a safety down, a single high defense, a good audible, and a good throw. Really protecting Driver with the throw, keeping him low.
17 yards, but you know what that red hanky means, a challenge by the Detroit Lions.
Detroit is challenging the ruling on the field that the pass was complete.
So Ed Hockley will go under the hoodie and we'll come back to see what he finds out in a minute. The Lions threw out the challenge flag, challenging whether or not Donald Driver made the catch. It was a close one, but it looks like he made it clean.
Well, the question is whether or not he's able to get his hand under this football and tuck it before the ball touches the ground. From this angle, it looks pretty close. It looks to me like he did have control of that football, and it wasn't actually a scoop. He actually got under the football and cradled it.
The ball skipped off the ground before it was caught. Therefore, the pass was incomplete. It's 3rd and 10 on the 41. Please reset the clock to 8:39. 8:39 in the game clock.
And
no timeouts are charged.
Ed Hockley goes the other way, saying it touched the ground, skipped off the ground. And that's a big break for the Lions, wiping out a 17-yard pass completion.
Yeah, you know, I really think this thing looks, I mean, it looks either way, whether or not, I don't see how you can tell how the football touched the ground. You know, it's got to be inconclusive evidence to overturn that call.
And Rod Marinelli is used to that exact play because he was a part of that Tampa Bay staff in the NFC Championship game against the St. Louis Rams. The pass to Bert Emanuel that skipped off the ground. It was debatable as to whether or not it was a catch. The next year, the NFL changed the ruling on that type of play. 3rd down and 10. Favre. Tip still caught. Lee. Lee holds on, fighting for the first down. What a play. He's going to get the first down and then some. Donald Lee with a great second effort. And that's 15 yards. And a new set of chains.
Well, it's a tremendous job by Donald Lee presenting himself a target for Brett Favre, and Brett Favre getting through his progression and getting the football down into the hands of a playmaker on 3rd down. Really, you don't have to necessarily throw by the sticks, but you have to get the ball in his hands and give him an opportunity to run and get it, and the Packers able to take advantage of that on 3rd down.
Timeout is called, looked like Dre Bly, the corner.
Timeout,
went
Detroit.
over, called timeout.
That's their second. It's a 30-second timeout.
Let's go to Los Angeles for Chris Rose.
All right, Ron, huge day for Chad Pennington. 18 of 22, 214, and this TD toss to Lavernius Foles, who already has 8 catches himself. Hey, let's remember the Jets, 7-6, still in the playoff picture. They're up 10 in Minnesota. Back to Ron, Jesse, and Laura.
And the Packers hoping for that Minnesota loss. That would help their cause. And you look at the NFC complete playoff picture.
I think for all intent and purposes, you look at these teams right here, and it is must win each and every week. You're not going to get into the playoffs with a loss in the next 3 weeks. The NFC, again, the structure I think is so different. There are teams that are 8-8 that could get in the playoffs. We talked about San Francisco yesterday and how Here they are at 6-8. They have an opportunity to win the NFC West and actually host a playoff game.
And we flip it around and go over to the AFC side. The record's obviously much different and much better, but really on that right-hand side, the bubble, still the same scenario for those bottom 3 teams. They really can't afford a loss coming down the stretch. Ahman Green next to Favre in the backfield. Throw, and there's a tackle. Nice hustle there by Cleveland Pinckney.
You know, it's been funny. I talked to Brett Favre earlier this week, and I asked him, you know, what has been so handcuffing in this offense? And he said, you know, all of our drop back stuff this year has really been out of the shotgun. I've been more in the shotgun this year than I ever have the rest of my career. And, you know, we haven't been able to shift and move in motion and try to confuse defenses on the other side of the football. It's been very, very much more plain black and white. He's had to deal with that all season long.
A loss of 2, 2nd and 12. Markers go down. It's complete to Ahman Green. And he may get about 5.
I think one thing that's interesting when you watch Brett Favre is it seems like he has such a great clock in his head as a quarterback. You always hear this, people talking about, well, there's got to be a clock that goes off in your head when you have to get rid of the football. He takes a step on every drop. He looks downfield, and if he doesn't have anything, he knows immediately where his checkdowns are, and he's able to get the football out of his hands and not allow the pressure to get to him. And I think, you know, obviously he's been in the league.
Illegal formation offense. Number 76 was not lined up in the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
Well, they won't call that very often. That's on Chad Clifton, the left tackle. He's got to have his head up closer, aligned to the center.
You know, that's a thing that they said they would change a lot more this season. They weren't going to allow the offensive lineman to bow off the line. And I'll tell you what, when you put Tefillin on, you see it each and every week.
You do.
Guys do it each and every week. That's an unruly call.
See the penalties last week against San Francisco and today. 8 men up for the Lions. They think run. They bluff out of it. Another check down to Green. Green with a nice cut, but he'll be about 5 yards short of the first down. Alex Lewis on the tackle, a pickup of 9.
Well, again, you see Brett Favre here not trying to force anything downfield, just the simplest completion. Sometimes, you know, the ball travels 4 or 5 yards, but you get it into the hands of a guy like Ahman Green, and this is what he's able to do in space. He makes guys miss, but he's a strong enough runner to get north and fall forward and gain more yards.
Another 3rd down for the Packers, 3rd and 8. Donald Driver in short motion. He's cutting across the field. There it is, Driver. Now he's got to get the first, and he does. Great second effort by Donald Driver.
Well, again, the protection from the Green Bay Packers holds up for Brett Favre to be able to get through his progression. They do a good job sorting out who they got. Brett Favre able to step up and just get the ball off. And again, Donald Driver comes across on the drag route, and you don't have to throw to the sticks. In the West Coast offense, a lot of completions are before the sticks. It allows guys to run with the football and get first down.
Driver shaking up a bit. We'll keep an eye on him. We'll go back to the ground game. Vernon Morency looking for the end zone. Touchdown, Packers.
And you see here the dynamics of Vernon Morency, the different style runner he is, as opposed to Ahman Green. He's a slasher with a lot of cutback ability. He can change direction very, very well, and he shows that ability here on this touchdown run.
Morency brought in a trade with the Houston Texans that sent Sam Gatto down south. And like you say, he has come in and been a great change of pace guy. Very similar to Ahman, but a click faster and a click quicker. And Rayner adds another one. The Green Bay Packers come down the field, put together a nice drive, and go up 7. Great run by Vernon Morency, and the score. We know about the speed of Ahman Green. We don't want to slide him, but Morency adds to that perfectly.
Well, here you're going to see rookie right guard Jason Spitz. He's going to pull out to the right. Morency's just going to follow and end up making a great cutback across the grain. And this is one of the things he does very well. He has enough speed to get to the outside, cut north, and right here,
Wow.
Tremendous cutback ability and strength to drag defensive players into the end zone.
14 yards on that touchdown, and I thought the Packers had gotten away from the run a little bit, Jesse. So much throwing by Favre, and you'd already mentioned the gun formation, but great play call there by Mike McCarthy.
It's almost interesting sometimes how the pass sets up the run in those instances. And, you know, for teams to be successful in the red zone, you have to be able to run the football.
And in this offense, at least this year, the pass is definitely setting up the run. I mean, maybe you could go back to the Mike Holmgren West Coast offense. They never wanted to run it. They always wanted to pass it. And the run later on became a factor. Guys like Dorsey Levens stepping in there. Edgar Bennett getting people spread out. And now here comes a run game with 6 or less in the box.
You know, and I think what's interesting, too, is you look around the league and you look at more of these. There's spelling backs. Teams don't necessarily always use one guy. They usually have a combination of 2 runners that may be slightly different styles that help to kind of change the tempo of football games. And the Packers certainly have that here with Ahman Green and Vern Morrison.
They'll kick it off. Drummond back deep. A very short kick. Taken at about the 13. He runs right into traffic. Barely gets out past the 25-yard line. Well, this January, the Tostitos Bash comes to Fox, beginning with the AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic, followed by the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, the FedEx Orange Bowl, the Allstate Sugar Bowl, and concluding with the Tostitos BCS National Championship game, Florida and the Ohio State Buckeyes. The Tostitos Bowl Bash begins New Year's Day right here on Fox.
God, you know that Florida Gator helmet looks good.
I just want to wish your Florida Gators luck, man.
Well, it's nice to see it up there.
1st and 10. Play action. Looking deep. The comeback to Roy Williams, and it's not there. Let's go to Los Angeles for a game break and Chris Rose.
All right, Ron, can't be critical of Rex Grossman on this play unless you have a problem with him handing the ball off to Thomas Jones. In from 5 yards out for his 6th touchdown of the year, and the Bears lead the Bucs 14-3. Back to Ron, Jesse, and Laura.
You were talking about the double back thing. Jones, Cedric Benson.
Absolutely. It just seems to be more apparent more and more throughout the teams this year.
Play action to Harris. The check down throw to Fitzsimmons, and he goes backwards. Nice tackle there by A.J. Hawk. A quick look at the numbers. Rushing yards. Looked like Detroit started off running, and then they got completely away from it. And of course, Green Bay is going to throw the ball.
Right, well, and there's a number we just saw. Detroit right now with only 6 passing yards. That's not something anybody expected heading into this football game. Because of the injuries on offense, we expected them to throw much, much more and have more productivity. But the Green Bay Packers on defense and man coverage have done a good job versus the Lions receivers.
3rd down and 8. They blitz both linebackers. Kitna will do it on his own and get the 1st down. Is upended at the 45-yard line.
Well, really, anytime on defense, you're going to play man coverage and you want to bring pressure, that potentially opens lanes for the quarterback to get north. And you see here again the matchup we've been talking about, Al Harris on Roy Williams. There's no answer there. And John Kitna has a good feel in the pocket with crossing routes. Once that happens and they bring the linebackers on blitzes, that opens up big lanes over the middle of the field to run with if you can get out of the pocket.
18 yards, the longest rush of the year for Kitna. Simmons, he's wide open, and Simmons is inside the Packer 40-yard line. Barnett finally drags him down.
Right now, you know, the Detroit Lions obviously wanting to throw the football. They're able to kind of get a clear-out route on this play. You know, their concepts offensively, the things that Mike Martz wants them to do on paper are really flawless, and they work well. And this is an offense that doesn't have many audibling. Everything there's answers all over the field for whatever the defense throws at you. I'll tell you what, when you can't run the football, it just makes it so much harder to get things done offensively.
A pickup of 13 on the last play, a throw outside, complete to Furry, but he went backwards. Al Harris on tight coverage.
Going back, you know, we look at this last play, there's going to be a crossing route here from Fitzsimmons. Everything gets cleared out through on this side, leaving a big window over here on the other side of the football field. And really, it's the first progression for John Kitna to get to. And again, you know, when you draw this stuff up and you watch them on tape, you know, the concepts are great. And I'm sure as receivers, the tight ends in this offense get excited about that. It's really the onus is on the offensive line to keep Kitna safe. And these guys getting downfield and getting open.
2nd 10. They run the crossers again. There's Furry. Got him. He's out of bounds. He's going to be about 2-3 yards short of the first. But there's that concept you were just talking about, Jesse.
You know, and you talk a little bit about the revamped O-line for the Detroit Lions. Early in the season, they lose Rex Tucker. They lose a Pro Bowl caliber guard in Damian Woody. And they're forced to step in guys today. Rick DeMullen will play left guard, and the rookie Frank Davis, who the Lions really like. They're excited about him. He's big. He weighs 325 pounds. But again, Mike Martzfield's handcuff calling plays. He's not sure what his young O-linemen know exactly. He's got to pick his parts of this game, when to call different run plays. He's not sure the success ratio he's going to get.
3rd down and 4, and Kitna is going to have to call timeout. Lions in Packer territory. Look at Mike Martz there, and last week the run game was absolutely atrocious. They finished with -3 yards rushing. First team since the NFL merger in the 70s to do so. But I'm not so sure that that means that Mike Martz wanted to come out and establish a run. His bread and butter, what he lives by, is this right here, the pass. 3rd and 4, and it's complete. Oh, and it might be a yard short of the first down. Let's see where they mark it. Nick Barnett with a great tackle. It's all going to come down to the spot.
Well, they're just going to run another shallow crossing route with Arlen Harris across the football field. Looks like it's going to be short. Nick Barnett doing a great job tackling. Here's Arlen Harris at the top of the screen, just going to run a shallow crossing route. He's not able to get to the sticks. Kitna does get the football in his hands pretty quick, but a good job by the linebacker, Barnett, tracking him down and able to stop him before he's able to get to that stick, bringing up a 4th and short.
And just think, Barnett did that with one hand.
I was going to say, you know, playing with that claw or that club really is playing this football game one-handed. I think in his mind, he's probably not even considering intercepting balls unless you can catch everything with one hand. That's tough sledding for a guy to have to come up and make tackles when you can't use your fingers and hook around guys' legs.
He injured that hand 4 weeks ago versus the New England Patriots right here in Lambeau as they pull out the chains for a measurement. And he's been the annual leading tackler of this team, but A.J. Hawk has come in and as a rookie has really stepped up, and now he's the leading tackler, and there you go. It's about a foot short. When you're 2-11, I think it's a no-brainer. I think you got to go for it.
No question. The offense jogging back on the football field right now.
So John Kitna will bring his offense back on the field, and you have to go back to the John Kitna 18-yard scramble that really got him in this position in the first place.
Yeah, really trying to make things happen with his legs, do what it takes to keep drives alive, and he's able to do that throwing the football or doing it with his legs.
That is the 2-minute warning. We'll be back for 4th down. A look at the 4th down numbers for the Detroit Lions. 4th and 1. Fumble, and there you go. Recovered by Cullen Jenkins, and that has to sum up the entire season for the Detroit Lions.
You know, the Detroit Lions have had so many problems this year with turnovers, with their inability to really run the football, and even here at 4th and 1, unable to get the snap exchange from center to quarterback. It's just bad ball handling, and Cullen Jenkins is already having a monster game with 3 sacks, able to jump on the fumble.
And it reminds you of last week against the Minnesota Vikings. They're driving about on the 3-yard line. 4th down comes up. They don't go for the 3 with the hope of coming back later for the touchdown. They go for it on 4th and goal, and they get shut down. Brett Favre and the Packers take over. Under the 2 minutes, a check down to Green. Green fights up close to the 40-yard line. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, the Visa Halftime Report with Kurt, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy. Scores and highlights, plus the Fox Sports ticker. That's coming up in about 1 minute and 42 seconds.
There's a charged team timeout there to Green Bay.
That's Chad Clifton. And inside of 2 minutes, that's a charged timeout to the Packers.
That's really a big loss right now for Green Bay if they are to lose Chad Clifton. He's one of the most experienced guys in the offensive line right now, with 3 rookies starting on the O-line, especially playing left tackle, the blind side of Brett Favre. That's a loss the Green Bay Packers cannot afford to sustain right now, considering how much they're throwing the football in this game.
And Brett Favre has just tied the all-time NFL completion record with that last throw. Second and 5. And that throw breaks the record in a long run by Carlisle Holiday. 22 yards.
And what a throw to break the record on. I mean, a classic Brett Favre type pass, a bullet on a slant route to Carlisle Holiday to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, your all-time NFL completions leader.
Markers go down, another completion, Jennings. And Jennings was heading for the first down, and he went backwards with the hit by Wilson.
Timeout Green Bay, that's their second. It's a 30-second timeout.
And what a feat it is, boy. Brett Favre leading the NFL now in all-time completions.
Well, you go back to this play where he breaks the record. Carlisle Holiday just going to run a slant route, gets in the open hole, a bullet throw again from Brett Favre, giving Holiday a chance to catch and run and get up
first down. The timeout will not be charged to Green Bay. Green Bay has 2 remaining timeouts.
And I don't know if Carlisle Holiday realized when he caught that ball that for the rest of his life he will see that film. It will be ingrained.
And Carlisle Holiday can appreciate being a quarterback at Notre Dame for most of his career. He's made a great transition to wide receiver here in the National Football League. That's interesting, really. A quarterback breaking the record, throwing to another guy who had played quarterback most of his career in college.
Brett Favre steps another step into NFL history. Pressure, and Favre goes down. Sack. I don't know who they're going to give it to.
They're going to have to get up here. They're going to call a timeout so they don't have to lose any more time in this 2-minute drill. Just great push here from the Detroit Lions.
And Green Bay with 1 timeout left.
Really, Corey Redding inside, Kalimba Edwards on the outside. Really just get a lot of push coming in. Collapse the pocket.
DeVries is there along with Kalimba Edwards.
And you have to wonder, without Chad Clifton's presence in at left tackle, Darren College was moved to the left tackle spot. In his place, the rookie, and he got collapsed by Kalimba Edwards. They're going to have to solidify that spot the rest of this game if they expect to have any success throwing the football in the second half.
That's Clifton running in, getting an early start on the halftime and the injury. 1 minute 7 seconds. 2nd and 25. Whoa, nearly intercepted. Brett pulled the trigger a little late on that one. Alex Lewis had a shot at it.
Detroit Lions playing more of a prevent style Tampa 2 defense, and there aren't that many holes, especially on the perimeter of the football field, to try to get the ball into. Brett Favre trying to fit one in. Who's tight end David Martin. Unable to get there. You're going to see David Martin right here, just going to run a curl route. Brett Favre tries to fit it in. The linebacker does a great job just watching his eyes, be able to jump in front of it, setting up a 3rd down.
3rd and 25. The screen, Green makes a nice cut, but well short of the first down. Terrence Holt is the first man there for the tackle.
Right, really not a lot of play calling in the offensive playbook for Coach McCarthy on 3rd and California. Anytime you have 3rd and 25, it's good just to check it down, get a screen play, get some positive yards, set up the field position battle for yourself with a punt, hopefully down inside the 20-yard line, and make Detroit have to march the field with very, very little time left.
John Ryan to punt away. First-year player coming out of the University of Regina. Signed with the Packers last year. Spent 2004 and 2003 with a team you know about, the Saskatchewan Roughriders up there in the CFL. And that ball is going to go into the end zone. It'll be a touchback for the Lions when we come back. 53 yards on the punt. Well, coming up next, don't forget it's the Visa halftime report. Kurt, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy with all the scores and highlights, plus the Fox Sports ticker. It's all coming your way in 14 seconds. I enjoyed their conversation this morning about T.O. What can T.O. do next? It's like Jimmy Johnson said. He just wants attention, huh?
That's unbelievable. That's something that, interestingly enough, you know, spitting in D'Angelo Hall's face, it wasn't even seen. No one even knew about it until after the game.
So the Lions will sit on it, and they will get out of this half down by only 7. And that's the end of the first half. Stay tuned for the Visa halftime report coming your way after a word from your local Fox station. Hard picture. And welcome to the booth once again, Ron Pitts, Jesse Palmer, and Jesse, we talk about, for Detroit anyway, missed opportunities. The 4th down play there, like I said, was just an example of how this season has gone for them.
Absolutely. You know, Detroit unable to take advantage of opportunities. They've been turning it over. That's really been their MO all season long. They haven't, again, been able to get the running game going, and it just has really fallen apart. Even today, they're not able to get the passing game going, which is something that we didn't expect.
And some key matchups we also talked about. Al Harris going against Roy Williams, and so far this one is all Al Harris.
Absolutely. Everywhere Roy Williams has been on the football field today, Al Harris has followed him, and you see he's been chasing him all over. He's played very, very physical with him. He's gotten his hands on him. Again, Detroit with only 30 yards passing. A big reason for that is the presence of Al Harris on the football field, really taking away the presence of one of the best NFL's best receivers.
And Al Harris and Charles Woodson talked all week long about Pro Bowl and how they are the 2 best cornerbacks in the NFL, and today they are playing like it.
Absolutely, yeah. Charles Woodson said, look, bar none, we're the best 2 corners in this league because we're asked to play so much man coverage. We can match up with the best guys in the league, and we can shut them down. They've both done a good job of that today.
Meanwhile, defensively, also for the Packers, Cullen Jenkins, a guy they inserted into the starting lineup last week in San Francisco, has been all over the field. 3 sacks and 1 big fumble recovery.
Well, Cullen Jenkins really is inserted into the starting lineup to be more of a presence on the run game, but he's made his presence known more in the passing game today. 3 sacks, a fumble recovery, and because of the job Al Harris and company have done in the secondary, that has allowed the defensive lineman Cullen Jenkins to pin their ears back, get after John Kitna. They've done a tremendous job of that so far here today.
And Brett Favre, as always, running, controlling, managing the Green Bay Packers. He spread the ball out quite a bit. I mean, we've seen that throughout the year, though.
Yeah, really, the Green Bay Packers, their problem offensively this year has not been moving the football. They came into this football game with the NFC's 5th best offense in total offense. They can move the ball on anybody. It's been scoring points, not turning the football over, and taking advantage of opportunities in the red zone. Brett Favre managing the game well, though, so far here today.
And Green Bay has had problems here at home this year. 1-5 at Lambeau this year. The only win was Week 8 versus Arizona. And as Brett Favre said earlier in the year, Lambeau Field is a special place. We've got to take Lambeau back. Morency deep. He'll take it at the 5. Avoids 1, pushes it up past the 25-yard line, close to the 30. Let's go down to Laura Oakman.
All right, here's what the coaches had to say. Rod Marinelli, defensively, he likes what he sees. Says we're bending, not breaking. Offensively, he said we need to execute. We're getting golden opportunities. We just need to do something with them. On the flip side, Mike McCarthy, a lot less happy. He said offensively, garbage. Too many penalties, too many turnovers, garbage. Guys, I don't know what I can add to that.
You don't really have to add much. I sympathize with Rod Marinelli. He understates golden opportunities missed. The slant, more like the thin post intended for Driver, and it's incomplete. Dre Bly on the coverage, and here's a look at the first half numbers.
I think this right here is what really jumps out at me. Only 30 yards passing for Detroit, considered one of the better passing offenses in the NFL. The Green Bay Packers secondary have done a very good job controlling the Detroit Lions wide receivers so far this season.
And there's a look at your fantasy numbers. Brett Favre, of course, breaking the NFL completion record, moving further into the record books. For the latest in fantasy stats, log on to foxsports.com. 2nd down and 10. Fake the hitch, the give to Green. Green picks his way as he fights past the 30-yard line out to about the 32. Lennon on the tackle.
And I think this is something the Green Bay Packers want to get back and really establish here early in the second half. They want to get back to running the football. In the second quarter, they were forced to throw the ball a little bit more. They had success sustaining drives, passing the football, but again, going back and using both of their runners, whether it's Vernon Morrissey and Mon Green, pound this Detroit defense into submission, keep the chains moving.
3rd down and 5. Donald Driver is in the slot. Pressure. There you go. And it's incomplete. Intended for Driver on the quick one, but just a little overthrown. That'll bring on the punt team for Green Bay.
Well, in the slot, he has Donald Driver again running a skinny post route. You're going to see him right here just try to get around the defender, get into the area. Another laser shot from Brett Favre, trying to fit it around McGraw, the safety. That's a lot of heat for anybody to take. That goes through about 3 different guys' hands.
Well, Donald Driver told us earlier in the year that he's broken about 3 fingers off of Brett Favre footballs. That one is Squiver. That'll be taken by Drummond. He's looking for the wall and runs right into a Packer. Tracy White hustling down on the tackle. 36-yard punt, 4-yard return.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 41. By Microsoft, software for the people-ready business. By Best Buy, wrap up the wow this holiday season only at Best Buy. And by the all-new 2007 Wrangler, a new species from Jeep.
I mentioned earlier the Lions' futile attempt to run the ball last week, setting an all-time record for least amount of yards in the game, and that's a throw complete to Casey Fitzsimmons.
Well, you look at this right here, last week versus Minnesota, only -3 rushing yards, which is never going to get it done. You know, they come into this football game as the NFL's worst rushing offense. In the last 5 games, they've averaged less than 50 yards running the football, and it's just made them so one-dimensional. They've had to throw the football much more than they've wanted to, and it's gotten them in a lot of troubles. The turnovers have gone way up because of that.
2nd and 2. Manageable down in distance for sure, and that's the 1st down. Avion Kason getting his first carry of the day.
You know, and here's an example of almost the pass setting up the run again. Throw a ball for 8 yards to put yourself within 2nd and 2, and now you get a chance to get on the football and pound it a little bit with Avion Kason.
Wasn't it interesting what Mike Martz told us this week? I said, what would you call, Coach, a manageable down and distance? He said 3rd and long.
3rd and 24 is manageable for Mike Martz.
I'm telling you, he wants to air it out. He'll keep it on the ground again to Kason.
I think it's been interesting already today. I think we've seen the Detroit Lions run the ball so much more than certainly they did at this point in the week. Last week versus Minnesota, all of a sudden you see already, look, 12 rushes, 17 passes. You know, that this isn't something that the Detroit Lions have really had the ability to do. And today, you know, you get the feeling they're trying to get that established. And I think a lot of times you got to be patient. You got young guys, but you got to stay patient. You got to keep doing it, even if you're down.
2nd down and 9. Throw, and it's complete. Arlen Harris is inside the Packer 30. Nice looking play there.
Well, you're going to see Arlen Harris come out of the backfield right here, and he's just going to run a bow route down the field, and John Kitna will do a good job taking his drop and hitting him. It's interesting, you know, when you think about losing a guy like Kevin Jones and the impact he has in this type of offense with the amount of catches he's had this season, career highs for him, how involved the running back is. Arlen Harris actually does fit the mold pretty well in terms of running the football and catching it. He started for Mike Martz 4 times in St. Louis. They won all of those games, so he's a guy that's able to step in the system and execute.
1st and 10. Nice throw, a nice catch. Fitzsimmons, he's starting to work into the action. And going back to Kevin Jones, he was very vocal this week about management and what needed to be done or not done in order for the Lions to be successful in the future.
Right, he had talked about this team not having the appropriate talent to win games. He said the blame can't go to Coach Marinelli, it can't go to Mike Martz. We just don't have the guys in the locker room to get it done, and I think that turned a lot of heads, certainly in the locker room and around the organization.
2nd down and 4. The toss. Kaysen, and he's backwards. Nice play there. Nick Barnett scraping down the line. What's going on to Laura Oakman?
Well, you guys know, when you say 2 and 11, you know that starts creeping into the guys' heads as they're sitting here, and it is interesting. They're young, but they're trying to fire each other up. You can see where one guy's head goes down, and there's another guy walking up to that line saying, hey, look at the score. We're down 3. We're down 3. Let's go. Don't start getting out of it right now. So you can see where at least they're trying to get each other going.
And Laura, this is the area of the field they need to try harder because they self-destruct when they hit the red area. 3rd and 5. Empty backfield. That'll be a quick throw. There it is, into traffic. And that's what I'm talking about. Nearly intercepted. Brady Popenga, who struggled with pass coverage throughout the year, is there to help with the breakup.
Well, Jon Kitna trying to get the football down the field to Arlen Harris, and really, you know, you wonder if he passed a wide open receiver up in the flat. Instead, he tries to take a bigger play opportunity downfield, and they're unable to get it. Again, that's not a particular route that running backs normally succeed at, deep post down the middle of the football field. There's a saying on offense, don't give up a profit to make a bigger gain.
The second attempt today from 42 yards for Hansen. The wind is at his back. It's straight, and it'll definitely be long enough. And the guy that has been here since 1992 gets the Detroit Lions a little bit closer. A look at the scoring drive, and when you come to Lambeau to play the Packers, you definitely want to bring Jason Hansen with you. He is 17 of 18 in his career in field goals. The guy's missed 1 field goal here. That's money.
He's wearing the wrong colored uniform.
Morency at the goal line. Makes a cut, goes the other way, and gets something out of it. He stretches it out to about the 25-yard line, maybe the 26. 10-6, Green Bay holding on. Look at Jon Kitna's numbers, and completion-wise, it's pretty darn solid.
Well, Jon Kitna's on the sideline right now, probably looking at a blown opportunity that just occurred on their past series on 3rd down.
Green looking to stretch it out. Doesn't quite get to the 30-yard line.
And really on 3rd down and 5, they have a wide open Casey Fitzsimmons who's going to run a quick shallow route. There's going to be nobody in this area of the field. He's trying to hit Arlen Harris on a deep post. Popenga runs with him stride for stride and really almost intercepts it. But you look at this, you look at Casey Fitzsimmons on the shallow route, that's a 1st down right there. And there's a saying in offense, don't turn down a profit to make a big gain. And that play to Casey, that's the profit you want to attack, keep the ball moving.
That's a great point. Look at Ahman Green, he's moving. Ahman Green, with what might be his longest run of the day, finally pushed out of bounds at about midfield.
And again, this is a concept that we've seen earlier this game running the football. It's the young athletic lineman. It's the right guard and the center both going to pull. And Ahman Green does a great job weaving through. You get a lot of speed down the course of the line of scrimmage. And look at Ahman Green, how he's able to pick his holes and then get north. It's a combination, I think, of his ability to cut, but also the speed, understanding to consistently try to get north.
19 yards on the run by Green. Morency will cut it back and get stacked up close to the 50-yard line. They'll call it about 3.
There's a new center in the football game right now. Interesting, Scott Wells is out. He lost his shoe. It looked as though Jason Spitz, the rookie right guard, make the transition over to center. You know, and that's tough for a quarterback because you never have 2 centers on your football team give you the football the same way on snaps. You know, and of course, if there is going to be a center change, you like to kind of get some snaps on the sidelines before you run back out instead of just having a new guy handing you the football in the next play.
Scott Wells, the only Packer offensive lineman this year to start every game. Start every game with that same spot, center. Donald Driver, looking for the 1st down, loses the ball, but then gets lucky and gets right back on it.
And really right now, I think you're kind of seeing a little bit about what Coach Mike McCarthy, what he talked about in terms of it being sloppy. Your driver will come in motion. He's going to set up here on the zone, give himself a wide open opportunity where he catches it, is unable to secure the football, almost causes another turnover. Those are the things the Green Bay Packers need to get corrected, not give Detroit Lions more opportunities to score more points, get back in this football game.
3rd down and 4, and he's gone to Driver in this situation a lot. Driver's in the slot. Second man from the bottom. Going to Driver again. The wheel route. There it is. A marker goes down as Driver completes the catch at the 20-yard line.
Well, they get Donald Driver isolated on John McGraw, the safety from the Lions. There's a penalty. It looks as though this is going to be illegal use of the hands by the offense. And this may come back.
It was more of an out and up by Driver, but you're right, this may be against Green
Pass
Bay.
interference, offense, number 85. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
That wipes out a 27-yard pass play.
Yeah, this is really, you're going to see Greg Jennings, the rookie, right here, and you're going to get a wheel route from the outside. He's going to set the pick for Donald Driver. You'll see right there, as a receiver, you are not allowed to intentionally impede the path of the defensive back.
And that's all the offensive coordinators do, is draw plays to intentionally impede the path of the defensive back.
Absolutely. You know, the guy on the other side of the ball, Mike Martz, has become a master at that.
Oh, man.
Mike McCarthy showing you his ability to draw something
That's
up very
right.
similar.
Boy, how long has that been going on in the NFL? I mean, that is, and then when you guys start using the umpire to pick, that's when it really gets fun.
You know, and unfortunately for Green Bay, a big play called back, another blown opportunity for this Packer offense.
3rd and 14 now. The slant, Holiday, and Holiday is to the 50-yard line, well short of the 1st down. Nice job of gang tackling there by the Lions defense, and that'll force a punt.
And again, you get into these 3rd and long situations, there's not a lot for Mike McCarthy to call. Not going to be a lot in his playbook to try to convert these 3rd downs. You got to try to keep these things manageable on 3rd down, whether you do that running the football, protecting the football, throwing short completions. The Packers have gotten themselves out of that rhythm. They've been forced to punt.
Drummond standing at the 15-yard line. Ryan angles this one a little bit. No fair catch called. Drummond will just take the hit. Great coverage by the Packers. 37-yard punt, 1-yard return. The initial hit by Jared Bush.
This is going to be an unnecessary roughness play.
Late marker.
Ben Taylor, 58 of the Packers, I believe, for a headbutt after the whistle was blown.
That's always fun.
There's a little altercation between him and one of the Detroit Lions.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, Green Bay, number 58. It's a 15-yard penalty enforced from the end of the play. 1st down.
Well, Ben's a 5-year vet. He should know better than that. Oh, well.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
Al Harris working on Roy Williams, and really it hasn't been a contest. Al Harris has been all over him, in his back pocket, as they say. Quick count for Kitten, a quick throw. Arlen Harris, and he can't hold on. That would have been a nice gain.
Go back to what we talked about with Al Harris versus Roy Williams. Coming into this football game, Roy Williams, the 2nd in the NFC in yardage, who's having a career season in catches as well. But you see right here, only 1 catch for 11 yards. That is way down on his numbers so far this season. On the other side, Al Harris, look, they've only thrown to him 3 times, 1 for an interception. That, in my opinion, is shutting a guy down and taking him out of the game plan. Coach Mike McCarthy talked about his ability to do that. He's done a great job of that so far here today.
2nd and 10. Is it caught? That's the former Packer, Corey Bradford, and they say no. Let's go to Los Angeles for this game break. Chris Rhodes.
All right, Ron, Steve McNair's returned doubtful with a cut on his throwing hand. His replacement, Kyle Bowler, slicing through the Cleveland defense to Demetrius Williams. His first career touchdown goes 77 yards, and the Ravens lead the Browns 24-17. Back to Ron, Jesse, and Laura.
And Barry Stokes is the injured Lion. You can see being helped up. And now remember, Barry Stokes is the 2nd string right tackle. Rex Tucker is already on the injured reserve list, gone for the season, as is Damian Woody, the right guard. In fact, they're down to their number 3 guard, on the right side.
Well, it looks like Jonathan Scott is going to check in. Here's Stokes right here. You'll see him behind John Kidden. Oh, he gets high load, and that you hate to see that. Aaron Campman lands on him. He looks like he tripped over Cullen Jenkins' legs.
He had no shot.
You never, ever, ever like to see that. He looks like he's walking off okay, though. And that'll be key for Detroit to try to get him back in this football game. They're very thin already in the offensive line. We just mentioned Jonathan Scott going to have to check in now at right tackle.
Yeah, and Scott, the 5th round pick out of Texas this year. He's had to play all over this line. And isn't it funny what Mike Martz told us this week, what he wanted for Christmas? I want to lose about 20 pounds and get a consistent offensive line in the game.
You know, they really haven't had that all season long.
And there is a challenge on that play on the catch or no catch to Corey Bradford. We'll be back. We are in challenge mode here in Green Bay. We are waiting for Ed Hockley to give us the official determination.
Well, you're going to see right here. The question is,
the ball came out of the receiver's hand and hit the ground and rolled. Therefore, the ruling on the field stands. The pass was incomplete. Detroit is charged with their first timeout.
At least Ed Hockley is consistent. Earlier in the game, Donald Driver had a similar play. The ball touched the ground. He called it incomplete.
Yeah, right. If you're going to try to catch a low ball, Ed Hockley is not the guy you want as your official.
But he is consistent.
Very, very much so. Very good at what he does.
Another 3rd and long.
Third down and 10. Play action. Plenty of time. Hunt ball's hit. And it's going to fall dead. Arm tipped. Or hand hit. At the last second, that'll bring on 4th down for Detroit. Corey Williams got in there just in time.
You know, and I think that's one thing that happens for you on defense. As soon as you can make another team one-dimensional, you can pin your ears back on defense and rush the passer, especially in 3rd and long situations. The Green Bay Packers have been able to do this all game long.
Greg Jennings is back deep to receive the punt, subbing for Charles Woodson. He'll take it at the 22. Dance. He's got a couple blockers if he can get to it, but gets nothing out of it. Well, tonight on Fox, get ready to celebrate the holidays Simpson style. Uh-oh, you know what that means. Well, an all-new episode that you can't miss. The festivities begin tonight, 8, 7 Central, right here on Fox. Oh. See, my kids will be trying to do that when I get home tonight.
I have a dog that does that to me.
Is that that?
Gets bitten on the hand.
That French boxer?
The French bulldog I have.
The French bulldog.
Yeah, acts like he owns the place.
Well, the name alone suggests that. French bulldog.
It's like a little Louis Le 14 in your house.
He'll tear up the sofa, then like stop for tea, right? 1st and 10, Packers, ball at about the 20-yard line. Green stretches it out to the 26, maybe the 27. Tackled by Daniel Bullocks. Before that play, here's a look at the Packers team leaders.
You look at Brett Favre, the completions look good. Certainly the interception was costly in the first half down near the red zone for the Detroit Lions on an overthrow. I think one thing that's interesting in this game, you look at both teams have thrown bad interceptions, but I think there's been 2 exchange problems from the center for both teams. Something you don't see very often, especially in the 14th week of the season.
2nd down and 5. Packers will keep it on the ground. Green fighting close to the 1st down. Ahman Green came into the game 238 rushing yards away from becoming the Packers' all-time leading rusher. That would surpass Jim Taylor.
There's been some good runners in Green Bay over the years. Guys like Jim Taylor, Ahman Green, Paul Hornung.
He's gone over 8,000 career rushing yards today. He'll have a few more, and that'll be a Packers 1st down.
You know, it's so important right now that the Green Bay Packers are able to get back and establish the running game with the lead here in the second half. And anytime you get in 3rd and 1 and 2, it comes down to just man and muscle. Nothing's going to be pretty inside 3rd and 3. If you're going to earn the yards, you're going to do it running downhill, getting your shoulder pads low and staying north. Green Bay Packers able to do that on that last 3rd down conversion.
5 1,000-yard rushing seasons for Ahman Green. We'll check out Noah Herron, the reverse. Donald Driver. Driver's got a little room. And Driver's going to be about 3 yards short of the first, but a nice effort.
Donald Driver really showing you why he was such a great track athlete at Elkhorn State. He had many records there. A lot of guys thought he could go to the Olympics in the hurdles, but you see right, or the high jump, and you see right here on the reverse, Brett Favre getting in front. Well, how many times have we seen that over his career? Laying out, trying to set blocks for his teammates, and there, of course, you see the speed of Donald Driver. The different element he gives you, on your offense. He's a big play threat down the football field, certainly, but you can include him in the running game as well.
Ernie Sims, the first-round draft pick, was down on the field injured. And what a season he had. He wanted to make everybody understand and make sure everybody knew when he made the comments a couple weeks ago that I am going for the NFL Rookie of the Year award. But he's got some tough competition, and one of those guys in line is across the other side of the ball, and that's A.J. Hawk.
You know, it's interesting. We talked to both these guys about how they feel in terms of rookies. Are they mentally tired? Are they physically tired? Ernie Sims has had such an impact this year on defense, playing the will linebacker position in Coach Marinelli's scheme. He's so fast. He plays so aggressive. He finds himself around the football so often. He said mentally, you know, it's tough, obviously, with the longer 16-week season. It starts breaking you down mentally and physically. That's a key loss.
Let's go down to Laura Oakman.
Barry Stokes walking around trying to loosen up that left foot. Retaped, hopefully good to go.
All right, thank you, Laura. 2nd down and 3. Give to Morency. And Morency is close to the 40-yard line.
Get the feeling right now on offense that Coach Mike McCarthy is really trying to change the tempo of this football game. There's been a lot of passing so far. The clock's been stopping. Mike McCarthy now electing to stay on the ground, running the football, pound out this defense a little bit, maybe try to wear them down to set up the game for them in the 4th quarter. They've done a good job of that on this drive, keeping their 3rd downs very manageable.
Good news is they're leading. The bad news is that you've got to have more points than what they've got, in just a little early there. Tony Mall.
False start offense, number 75, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Boy, he was getting out of there, wasn't he?
He sure was. You know, and that's difficult. You know, for a rookie like Tony Mall, a guy like Brett Favre likes to change the count up as much as he does to try to slow the rush down on himself. You see here the play selection, 5 runs, 0 pass on this drive, changing the complexion of this football game. You know, it's funny when you talk about that. Brett Favre, having a young offensive line, will do everything he can to take pressure off himself. And what you can do as a quarterback, certainly veteran quarterbacks, change the count up on the offensive line to slow the rush down defensively, help your young guys out.
3rd down and 7. Pressure on Favre, escape throw, and now Ahman Green's got to do it on his own, and he can't do it. Nice defense by the Lions, and they'll force another punt.
Well, it's really all Brett Favre could do on this football play. Kalimba Edwards comes untouched on the left side of him. You're going to see Kalimba Edwards right here just run around. Nobody touches him, and Brett Favre has the presence to really just get this football out, find his check down. It's a good thing he understands the system. Saves himself a lot of problems. Just get the ball in Ahman Green's hands. A punt at this point is okay. It's better than the alternative, about a 10-yard sack.
Ryan with the punt. Drummond is deep. A nice punt by Ryan. Takes Drummond all the way back to the 10. He needs a couple blocks, and he squirts up just past the 25-yard line. Noah Herron hustling down for the tackle. As we've said earlier, this is a playoff push for the Green Bay Packers. 5-8. They are alive as long as they keep winning.
Yeah, you know, the Green Bay Packers, this is a must-win game for them. It'll be that way the next 2 weeks as well. But, you know, they need a lot of help to get in the playoffs, certainly. You know, to get in at 8-8, there's going to have to be a lot happening in this group up here as well. Right now, Minnesota losing big, Carolina losing big. Green Bay can hold on. They better improve their chances of making it into this postseason.
Play action for Kitna. Underthrown, intercepted. Charles Woodson, his 6th of the year. A late marker comes down, but Woodson secures the ball for the Green Bay Packers. Both corners now have interceptions on the day.
Yeah, if you're Jon Kitna, you really have to just pick your poison. Which defensive back, which corner do you want to try to go after an attack on this try? He tries Charles Woodson down the sidelines with Mike Furrey. Throws a costly interception in his own territory.
Personal foul, face mask by Detroit, number 8 on the tackle. 15-yard penalty from the end of the interception return. First down.
And that's on Kitna. And 2 cornerbacks that have said all week long, we're the best in the league. They're showing it today.
You see Charles Woodson right here. He's going to reroute Mike Furrey down the sidelines and get his head turned around. Because he turns it around so early, he's able to see the flight of the ball and it makes an easier catch for him. Get back up the field. You see the face mask on Jon Kitna here. This is
that's a rough throw.
It's a tough fit. If you're going to try to fit anything around a guy like Charles Woodson or Al Harris with the athletic ability they have, you better be very precise with it. Here again, you see the face mask, and that adds to the damage. Green Bay now close to the 15-yard line.
Shovel pass, and that's an incomplete pass. That's the beauty of the shovel pass.
Absolutely, it won't count.
And I thought it was interesting what Woodson said, talking to him this week. That, out in Oakland, I got a lot of criticism for maybe not playing to the best of my abilities, or not having a lot of interceptions. He said, I didn't have the same kind of corner across from me as I have here. I've got a legit Pro Bowler in Al Harris.
That's right. He said when I was in Oakland, they didn't have anyone across from him that scared anybody, so he never had balls thrown his way while at Oakland. He's getting a lot more opportunities in Green Bay to make plays because of the guy lining up across from him, Al Harris. You saw right there his 7th individual takeaway, tied for first in the NFL. Both these guys, in my opinion, are having Pro Bowl caliber years.
2nd down and 10. Another drop. Donald Lee. Boy, the tight ends have dropped some balls today.
Really, the tight end position today for the Green Bay Packers has really poisoned this offense, specifically in the red zone. Here's Donald Lee. 2 drop. He's just going to set up over the ball. And this is a very simple pass and catch right here. This is not going to get any more wide open than that, especially down here in the red zone. These drop passes have taken points off the board for Green Bay and forced them into 3rd and longs, even inside the red zone.
6 drops in all today for Green Bay, 4 by tight ends alone. 3rd and 10. There's another hot one. Intercepted. Paris Lennon comes back to haunt his old team and picks off Brett Favre in the end zone.
Well, Brett Favre here trying to force one into the end zone, and you wonder if frustration at all is set into Brett Favre's mind. If I can't throw the easy completions, maybe I have to do too much. You're going to see right here another tight end down the middle of the field on a post route. And Brett Favre takes his drop and just tries to laser one in. The linebacker's able to jump in front. That's Paris Lennon, able just to jump in front of the pass. And what a big play for the Detroit Lions defense. Able to not even give up 3 points, but get no points, give the ball back to their offense on the own 20-yard line coming out.
First career interception for Paris Lennon, and you know what? After 16 starts and 5 years with the Green Bay Packers, he's seen Brett's throws a lot.
Absolutely.
He knows how he's got to catch it.
It's funny, we talked to Paris Lennon earlier in the week. He talked about how much he enjoys playing the middle linebacker position. It allows him to communicate on the defensive line, move guys around. Reminds him of when he played quarterback in high school. He really wants to be a quarterback. He's getting his opportunity out here in Detroit on defense. You see the reaction here by Mike McCarthy. That's just not a throw that he expects a 16-year veteran to make. He obviously shows his displeasure. I think Brett Favre knows it as well.
How much do you say to Brett Favre, though? And there's a completion in the middle of the field, the first one of the day to Mike Williams. You remember Mike Williams, the first-round pick out of USC, who ended up having to sit out of an entire year because he challenged the NFL early entry rule. Hasn't been able to get on the field much this year, but he makes a catch there.
You're going to see Mike Williams here in the slot. He's just going to run a post route, and he's running it on Charles Woodson. I think the advantage Mike Williams gives this offense is his size and his ability to be physical. I don't think the coaches have a lot of confidence in him right now in terms of understanding route depth, where he needs to be on the field. But right there, you see the advantages of having him and why they drafted him as high as they did.
Longest pass play of the day by the Lions. That was 21 yards, and there's another one to Mike Williams. And the Lions are trying to make a push thanks to turnovers. 10-6 Green Bay. Fox NFL Sunday will be back after these messages.
You're watching Fox NFL Sunday.
As we start the fourth and final quarter here in Green Bay, and the Packers are doing their best to keep the Detroit Lions in this thing.
And 2 interceptions in the red zone so far for Brett Favre. That's really stunted what they've been trying to do offensively, score points.
Flag on an early snap.
False start, offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Lions with 28 false start penalties now. That's second most in the NFL.
Steven Peterman now has checked in the game offensively for Detroit. The good news is Barry Stokes is back at right tackle. Now they've made a move at right guard. Barry Peterman taking over for rookie Frank Davis. And it's just they have had no consistency all year long at this position. And it's something Mike Martz has been so adamant about all year long.
Inside, another catch. Mike Williams, a marker comes in late, but that's the third catch now for Mike Williams.
Mike Williams really
showing up.
Yeah, all of a sudden, at this point of the season, showing up. 3 big catches the last 3 passes.
And you know, Mike Williams has been in the Mike Martz doghouse, so to speak. He hasn't been activated for most of the season.
Pass interference defense, number 21. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul, and that's an automatic first down.
Well, the way you're going to get out of the doghouse is by making big plays in games, and this may be Mike Williams' opportunity right now.
And you can see John Kitna in the fourth quarter. 4 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 3 fumbles lost, and that has really been the dissolving point there, the interceptions.
All right, Coach Marinelli is really trying to make a point. He wants to teach his football team how to finish games in the fourth quarter. He said, we've lost a bunch of games this year by 7 points or less. That's good news and bad news. It's good that we're not losing by too much. Bad news, we can't win games in the fourth quarter.
And Detroit has to burn a timeout to talk about it. 10-6, Packers. We're back here in Green Bay. You see the quarterback comparison. Both have done their share of creating turnovers. And there's a dangerous one thrown out to Arlen Harris. It's incomplete.
You know, that news is worse for the Green Bay Packers. You know, they have not won a football game this year when Brett Favre has thrown an interception. And really, I think it's the type of interceptions that both these quarterbacks have thrown. They've been costly. Green Bay thrown 2 in the red zone. Detroit just threw 1 in their own territory. The first one, Al Harris, resulted in giving Green Bay the ball back in their own hands.
Second down and 10. Corner blitz. They pick up the corner, they don't pick up anybody else. Sack, Packers. And it has been a battle of turnovers today by both teams.
Well, you start right here. There's been 2 turnovers by each team. Just getting the ball from the center. You see right here, Al Harris, a big turnover. Brett Favre in an overthrow, another botched snap. And then Charles Woodson's interception here. And of course, the costly one with Paris Lennon in the end zone. These are mistakes that both veteran quarterbacks are not accustomed to making, and it's hurt their offenses respectively in today's football game.
And they give the sack to Aaron Canton, and that pushes him to 11.5. Canton in trouble again. Last time he ran, good things happened. And he's out to the 40, well short of the first down. 4 down territory, what do you think?
Well,
No.
I don't think this is manageable, particularly right now, the way the
Mike
game's
Martz
going.
thinks anything is manageable.
Well, you look at coverage again. Look at Al Harris just step for step with Roy Williams. Again, what we talked about. On the top of the screen, Patrick Dendy doing a good job on Mike Furry. And with nobody downfield, that forces John Kitna again to have to tuck it and run. It's a good decision on his part because now they get a chance to pin Green Bay deep in their own end and let themselves play defense.
So Nick Harris will punt it away. Green Bay aligned looking for a fake. They play the safe punt. This one, hopefully for the Lions, will drop dead inside the 5, and look at that. Excellent job there. Eddie Drummond hustling down on the punt end and downing the ball at the 2-yard line. And here's one reason we've still got a close game. Look at Green Bay's last 5 possessions. And now they're backed up on their 2-yard line. They'll start with the run. Green, not a lot, maybe 2 or 3. What do you do if you're Mike McCarthy in a situation?
Well, right now, I think what he would do is just really buckle down and start calling the plays that he feels his guy in the huddle are comfortable at running right now. You got a young offensive line, you got a rookie wide receiver. You got to run the football right now, control the clock. You got to run the pass routes the receivers feel comfortable running, get the bootlegs going with Brett Favre, do the things he's good at seeing. Give yourself a chance here to win this football game.
2nd down and 8. They'll go to the run the other side. A great play in the backfield. They may have lost on that one. Corey Redding once again.
You know, and I think Corey Redding's a guy who most people look at immediately as a pass rusher, but he's come through today a couple times just on the running side of the ball. You'll see Corey Redding here at the left defensive tackle spot. He's able, again, with the speed he has and his athletic ability, he's able to slice through. He beats Scott Wells off the ball, and we've heard Coach Marinelli talk about this before. Corey Redding is a better athlete than most centers and guards in the NFL, and he uses his speed to his advantage.
A loss of 2, and oh, by the way, he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season.
Well, someone's about to get paid.
Ching, ching. 3rd and 10. Incomplete, intercepted. Dre Bly. And that was the one big play that the Lions needed.
Wow, you know, and this goes back to what we talked about, Brett Favre, his ability to always keep plays alive. He's able to get out of the pocket because of the pressure and try to create something on the sidelines. A lot of quarterbacks here in their own end zone with this type of deal will just try to throw the football out of bounds. Not Brett Favre. He wants to get something going. He tries to check it down, create a play with Ahman Green on the sidelines. You see here a tip ball right in the hands of Dre Bly, always opportunistic. What a big turn of events here in favor of the Detroit Lions.
But the Lions have not been able to capitalize off of anything the Packers have given them. That's Arlen Harris for a few inside.
I like this play call right here by Mike Martz. Get the ball running again. You don't have to necessarily throw 3 times to try to get a score here. Keep the football on the ground. Try to get that established again. We talked about it. The windows are smaller in the red zone, the end zone. It's tougher as quarterbacks to fit things in. Make this thing easy on yourself. Try to run, get closer inch by inch. Keep this thing possible.
But every time the Lions have tried to throw, they end up throwing it away. 2nd and 7. And they'll keep it on the ground. Harris fighting inside the 10. Manuel on the tackle. Let's go down to Laura Oakman.
I'm going to continue what you guys were talking about in terms of Favre's turnovers. I talked to Niners defensive back Walt Harris, who says everybody says it's a great thing that Favre plays like he's 22, and it is in terms of his enthusiasm. But he also says he makes the same mistakes that he made when he was 22. He said the key to playing him, be patient. He will always give you those throws if you just wait on him.
You know, when Coach Marinelli talked about that, he talked about how defensively they have to take different zone drops because of how quick the ball comes out at times. A lot of opportunities always for turnovers when playing Brett Favre.
3rd and 6. If nothing more, the Lions have to get a field goal, and that won't cut it for any kind of first down. The quarterback sneak, it's not even close.
It was the 2nd time in today's game that Detroit has tried this play on 3rd down between 3rd and 5 against the Green Bay defense. There's obviously something in the defensive front lineup John Kitna feels he can take advantage of. It's the 2nd time now he's fallen short. They're forced to try the field goal again.
But Jesse, I think it's clear that Mike Martz and this offense, they weren't going to throw the ball in the red zone here.
You know, he probably got a word from the head man. That's usually when the head coach zooms in and says, look, we're running the football.
And this guy has been automatic. I don't want to hex him. This is 23 yards out. And he stays automatic. A 1-point game here in Green Bay.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Season's Best from Cadillac, helping you navigate through the holidays, life, liberty, and the pursuit.
The little boy is not happy to be there. But this guy is happy to be here because he is the Lions' leading rusher today with 29 rush yards.
Well, you know, that just goes to show you sometimes how bad this thing can be. If you're not getting it done at running back, the 32nd best running defense in the NFL, which really is worst.
Man.
Leave it up to the quarterback.
Morency. And Morency shuts it down early, maybe to the 23-yard line. Anthony Cannon hustling down for the tackle. Let's go back to that sneak.
Well, you go back, you look at this, really, there's a wide 3 technique, and there's nobody lined up in the middle of the football field because Detroit has everyone spread out, and really they need to get this block sealed on the 1 technique, and Frank Davis is not able to get that done. He gets no help from the center, Dominic Raiola, and he's able to penetrate and make the play. That could be a walk-in touchdown if they're able to get that block. But schematically, it's not done, and you look at Roy Williams here, he's talked about how he's upset. He only has 4 touchdowns this season. He wants to be utilized more. And they didn't try to even throw the football in 3 downs like that.
And right, he has come out and said, I want to be used more, particularly in the red zone.
I think that's where he's had a lot of success in his first 2 seasons. He had 16 touchdowns. A lot of those came in the red zone. They haven't been able to get that going this year.
A pickup of 5. Things started off 3-3. Hansen hit from 42 yards out. Rayner for Green Bay hit as well. Morency walked in from 14 yards. And then Hansen has hit 2 more to make it a 1-point game. Thank goodness for field goal kickers. 2nd and 5. The glance throw inside. A marker goes down as it's incomplete.
Pass interference, defense number 21. Ball is placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
And Brett Favre audibles on this play. He goes to a slant route versus the press coverage on Jamar Fletcher. He changed the route at the line of scrimmage, and Jennings just tries to take a direct beeline route inside. You see Fletcher get the arm around, wrap it around. That's an easy call for the line judge to make pass interference and an automatic first down.
8:48 here in the 4th quarter. First down, Ahman Green slicing. He's out to the 35.
You know, if you go back to that last series by the Detroit Lions, getting the turnover by Dre Bly almost inside the 10-yard line and only coming away with 3 points, that's demoralizing for an offense. You don't even try to throw the football. You're just trying to pound it in and run and use a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 5. You can't get it done. And here they are still down 1 point in the 4th quarter.
Pickup of 3. Run again. Green's got a space, and that would be an easy first down. And I know for Ahman Green, the order of the day right now is hold on to the football. If you remember in the first matchup, he had that late fumble at the end of the game that almost cost him.
Well, you're going to see Chad Clifton here. He's going to pull around the outside and really clear the way and lead it for Ahman Green. And believe me, I played for Mike McCarthy last year. When he's up in football games, especially in the 4th quarter, he will move and change to the run game, pound it out, change the tempo of the game. He's doing that here right now.
Boss Bailey is the injured Detroit Lion. He's made a lot of plays, especially early in the game. And for the Packers, they have to believe that if we can just keep the ball on the ground, bleed the clock, even if we turn it over on downs or punt and make them drive the long field, they can't believe that the Lions can do it because they haven't shown it all day. They can't even punch it in from the red zone.
Right. You know, right now, if you're Green Bay on defense, you are not concerned with Detroit's ability to score points on offense. 1, because they can't run the football. 2, because you're winning the matchups on the perimeter with your corners versus their wide receivers. You've taken away the heart and soul of what this defense does, this offense does throughout the entire season. And if I'm Mike McCarthy, I'm doing the same thing. I'm running the football. I'm bleeding the clock. I'm going to make Detroit drive the length of the field to try to beat.
Another look at the playoff picture. Boy, a big win for the Packers last week in San Francisco. Went out there and beat the 49ers 30-19. And we talk about run-pass mix. They ran the ball 34 times and they passed it 34 times last week in the win against San Francisco. Balance. 1st and 10. They'll pass it. Going deep, looking for Driver. He's got a step. And it's just overthrown. Dre Bly on the coverage.
Green Bay Packers getting man-to-man coverage here. Detroit certainly on defense expecting runs, so they bring 8 guys in the box. Here's Dre Bly and Donald Driver. This is just a simple go route down the football field. Speed versus speed. And Brett Favre tries to take advantage of that. Just a little bit overthrown for Donald Driver. Set up 2nd and long.
Morency checks in at the halfback spot. Give to Morency. Just got the handoff. Morency turns the corner. Did he get the first down? Boy, it's going to be close. Nice effort.
You know, I really like this play call for Mike McCarthy right here. Detroit lining up with only 6 guys in the box, and anytime that happens when Green Bay is spread out, they're going to try to take advantage of that by running the football with his speed back and Morency. It's a good play call following, you know, you take a shot. You have these take a shot plays on the go route previously to Donald Driver. Now you come back, defense expects you to throw the football and you run it versus 6 guys in the box. Right here you'll see you're really only going to count these 6 guys right here because he's going to float outside, and that really provides the opportunity for the Green Bay Packers to get this thing north-south and run the football. And again, you see Morency's speed able to get to the outside. Changes the tempo of your offense.
Yeah, and that's
they get the first down. Absolutely.
We mentioned it earlier, Morency just a perfect fit for a change of pace guy coming in. Really complements Ahman Green well.
Yeah, you know, it's a great back to spell Ahman Green with, because you allow Ahman Green to get his gas on the sidelines. Every time these guys are in the game, they're both fresh. And they're both loads to run the football. And they never get tired because they can spell each other. That's been big for this offense.
Favre tried to get that snap off, and a marker's down.
It's the 2nd time
Ball
for Tony
start
Ball.
offense number 75. 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's the 2nd time for the rookie right tackle, Tony Mall. He's just anticipating the snap count, eager to get off. And you'll see Mall right here at the right tackle spot. He's going to jump the count. Brett Favre went to a quick count. He's trying to switch it up right now, give his guys a chance to get a good surge. Mall over anxious. That cost him again.
See the penalties there.
And a lot of times I think head coaches will look at those numbers, look at the amount of penalties they had, and ask themselves, hey, was my football team mentally prepared in this football game? It's already 7 more penalties than they had last week in San Francisco.
Run again to Morency, runs into Sims, goes backwards a little bit, and then fights up back close to the 45-yard line. Kanoy Kennedy with the tackle, and the Green Bay Packers trying to improve on that home record. As we've said, they came into this game 1-5 at home, and that has prompted Mike McCarthy to think about making some changes off the field. There was talk that perhaps in the offseason he would change the Saturday night routine. Maybe not have the guys stay in the hotel like they do now. He said, you gotta be careful around Green Bay. You make your changes slow. You come outside and have that Vince Lombardi trophy or statue looking at you funny.
You get Coach Lombardi looking in the window in your office,
right,
in the rearview mirror of your car when you're driving away.
Timeout Green Bay. That's their first.
And a timeout by Green Bay, and as Ed said, that is their first. Winding down here in the 4th.
And on the last play before they had to call a timeout, the Green Bay Packers had a check with me system on the line of scrimmage where Brett Favre can change it. You see right there, Brett Favre says over, and when he says over at the line of scrimmage, everybody knows the original run play called to the left now changes and goes to the right. Miscommunication, Ahman Green couldn't hear him. They're forced to burn a timeout.
2nd down and 11. Green, cut back, and he'll get stacked up. open up third down, and Green Bay at home. You can see from 92 to 2004 the win percentage. But from last year to this year, it's dropped considerably. Through the Holmgren era, they were outstanding. In fact, they were undefeated 96 and 97. Toward the tail end of Mike Sherman's tenure, it started to flip. Third down and 10. Fake the draw. Wide open Donald Driver. And that's going to be enough for a Packer first down.
This was really a good job of Brett Favre using his eyes. He's able to move guys on defense to get the passing lane that he wants to get. He uses a play action fake to try to suck the linebackers up here before throwing the football. And he really moves John McGraw with the play fake. You're going to see him right here. He's able to kind of move inside before throwing it outside him again. It's a good job by him understanding what they're doing offensively.
Back on the ground and run the clock. Green again.
You know, you think about Brett Favre, the kind of season he's had this year on third down. His quarterback rating heading into this game was 92.2 on third down. And that's outstanding. A lot of quarterbacks on third down, you know, their QB percentage, they drop because they want to force things downfield to get first downs. Brett Favre so far this season has done a good job managing third downs. If it's not there, he checks it down, keeps the ball moving, avoids the turnover.
2 timeouts left for Green Bay, 1 for Detroit. Green again sees a cutback, doesn't get much out of it.
Green Bay right now is trying to use this power running scheme where they're pulling backside guards and centers, trying to get extra guys at the point of attack front side to help the running game out. This is just trying to muscle a defense. This is really the definition of beating up a defense when you run these types of run plays. They're not just leads and draws or sweeps. It's this power play with guards pulling, linemen hitting each other on the outside. It's really a physical style offense.
Third and 9. Green cheats up. They'll hand it to him again. He's got a lot of room. Green will have a Packer first down.
And why not? Stick with it. Stick with the run on third down. This is just simple zone play. This is a zone scheme by the offensive line. They're just going to fit up on their guys all along the line right here. Force push. As a running back, you're just supposed to look for the first crease you see. There's no particular hole to run through that's designated for you. You just look for the first crease and turn it upfield. And Lon Green does a fantastic job of doing that. He's been doing that a long time here in Green Bay.
Ahman Green with 22 carries for 79 yards on the day. They'll switch it up. There's Morency. Look at the quickness. And that's what a good change of pace back will do. Touchdown, no flags. That should all but do it for the Detroit Lions today. The second touchdown of the day for Vernon Morency.
It's been such a definitive point of the game for the Green Bay Packers. Just run the football this entire drive. Put an exclamation point on this game, running the football.
Rayner squeezes it through, and the Packers with 2:48 left take a comfortable lead. Morency with a spectacular day, 2 touchdowns on the day last week against San Francisco, 7 carries for 69 yards, a 6.6 yard per carry average. You almost say you want to give the guy the ball more.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike McCarthy and this offense in Green Bay has inserted him at the right times today in the right situations, and Vernon Morency has been able to take advantage of those opportunities. Go back to that drive, just, you know, the message I think that sends to your team and how that inspires the defense. When you watch your offense just beat a defense down the field, I think it gets your defense fired up to come back out on the football field.
Drummond looking for the edge, and Ben Taylor will have none of it. The vet brought in free agency from the Cleveland Browns, hustles down to make the tackle.
You see again, maybe not just fire up the defense, fire up your kickoff team. You're going to see the touchdown run here. It's a simple lead scheme to the left side, but again, we talked earlier about Morency's ability to cut back in open lanes, and he sees the hole, makes a great cutback, and all of a sudden he's one-on-one with Kenoy Kennedy, and that's not a matchup in favor of Detroit. Morency able to use his speed to get back outside. Great cutback to the right, again in the hole, cut it back, great change of direction to get into the end zone for Green Bay.
So the Lions take over on what most likely will be their last drive of the day. Another nice catch, Mike Williams.
Mike Williams really emerging right now before our eyes. You're kind of maybe seeing a little bit of the maturation, an unlikely hero right now for Detroit. He's been very active here so far in the second half.
Mike Williams with 3 catches, all coming in the fourth quarter. Came into the game with only 1 catch all season. Ball out to the 25-yard line. Pressure backside. Kitna on the move. He gets out to the 30. Technically, I don't think it will be a sack. I believe he got out of the pocket. But a nice chase down by Bajabiamila. A pick up of 5 by Kitna. 2-minute warning. We're under the 2-minute warning here in Green Bay. The Packers have just scored. They go up 17-9, trying to close the Detroit Lions out and stay alive in the NFC wildcard hunt.
They're going to need a big drive right here on Detroit. There's 2-minute offense. They've only scored 1 touchdown so far this year in their 2-minute system.
Oh, and Aaron Campman with a facial. His second of the day.
The Green Bay Packers all day have done a better job putting pressure on Jon Kitna than the other way around. You see Aaron Campman here at the bottom of your screen. Ross Burba gets, sorry, not Ross Burba, but Barry Stokes gets picked. Clear path for Campman.
Markers go down on the 3rd and 13. Play is stopped. Boy, and Aaron Campman just...
False start, offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty, it's 3rd down.
That's Jeff Backus on the other side, and Campman just had a free run.
No question. And, you know, again, we talked about when you're one-dimensional on offense, what that does to a defense in terms of their psychology and getting after the quarterback. Green Bay has the horses on defense, and Aaron Campman, Colin Jenkins all of a sudden today with 3 sacks.
Right.
KGB, there's guys all over this defensive line that can get after it. You know they're licking their chops right now.
And guys like Corey Williams don't get a lot of pub, but he shows up a lot, as does Colin Cole. 3rd and 18, more pressure. Kitna away. Williams, he takes him down. 6 sacks on the year now for Corey Williams.
There's Corey Williams showing up right after he's talked about it, Ronnie, and he fights from his way inside all the way out. Here's Corey Williams right here. He's going to have to battle inside before chasing him around to the left. He engages, fights off the double team, pressure inside on the stunt by KGB, forces Kitna to his left. And there's big Corey Williams able to wrap him up for yet another sack.
And this is what Mike McCarthy had talked about all week, wanting to get fresh defensive linemen in the rotation. And a lot of guys didn't take to it, and Aaron Campman was a little salty about it. You know, guys want to stay on the field. And the play clock running dangerously low on Jon Kitna on this 4th and 25. Don't forget the second part of our Fox doubleheader. Eli Manning. The Eagles and the Giants coming up next. .45 seconds left, and a win here for Green Bay would mean, as we've said before, Minnesota here on Thursday night, and that will definitely be a chiller. And they'll close out the season in Chicago. And once again, a look at the playoff picture. And Chicago and Tampa Bay, believe it or not, are tied at 31. Kitna in trouble once again, still alive. Somehow he got out of that, and he heaves it up. And that's going to go out of bounds, and that'll be it today for the Detroit Lions. Pressure everywhere.
That's really what the Green Bay Packers on defense have done a good job of this game with Jon Kitna. They knew they were going to come out, try to throw the ball out. You see Aaron Campbell getting his hands on him. KGB has his hands on him. Pressure from Cullen Jenkins. There's Corey Williams. Each one of the defensive linemen getting their shot at the quarterback. And you look at coverage downfield, one of the few times Green Bay has not had to play man-to-man. They're able to sit back in zone, keep everything in front of them. Patrick Denny just mirroring Mike Gray at the top of the screen on the bottom. There's your two guys, Al Harris, Charles Woodson. Receivers gave up downfield. There was nothing there for them. That's really been the story today for the Detroit Lions offense.